The town's road is a bumpy, muddy road. Everywhere you can see the feces of chickens, ducks, cows, horses and other livestock. The town's houses are also dilapidated. Even China's many new villages can't compare. In that small town, everyone's clothes are shabby, their faces are yellow, the majority of them are black-haired and black-eyed Orientals. The number of blonde-haired and blue-eyed Westerners is relatively small. Tarandat subcontinent is a continent dominated by white people. The black-haired and black-eyed Orientals are classified as a bullied and humiliated race at the bottom. After Zhao Zhang's ancestor crossed the sea and arrived at Tarandat subcontinent, with the identity of a great knight, the first generation of Fernando Principality's king established countless heroic deeds. Only then was he conferred the title of Baron. Moreover, he brought a large number of black-haired, black-eyed and yellow-skinned Orientals to open up the wasteland. After 3 generations of hard work, only then did Autumn Leaf Town, this small town. The majority of Autumn Leaf Town's residents are also mainly Orientals, giving Yang Feng a somewhat space-time disordered feeling.
Lord, thank God, you finally returned.
Yang Feng returned to Autumn Leaf Castle. An approximately 50 to 60 years old man with white hair and beard, dressed in a butler's attire, immediately greeted him. Yang Feng took off his coat, handed it to the old man and asked, "Butler Liu, how much money does our clan currently have?" Butler Liu is an old man who has served 2 generations of barons in Autumn Leaf Castle. He is the clearest about Autumn Leaf Castle's finances. Butler Liu thought for a moment and said, "Lord, we currently have 456 gold coins. In Tarandat subcontinent, 1 gold coin can be exchanged for 20 silver coins or 2,000 copper coins. 456 gold coins is already a huge sum." Yang Feng said, "Leave 100 gold coins for emergencies. Immediately use the rest of the money to buy iron ore. Quickly ship it back. I have great use for it." Butler Liu was secretly alarmed, somewhat cautiously said, "Lord, our Autumn Leaf Town doesn't have any iron ore production. We have to go to the nearby Blackrock Town to buy iron ore. Blackrock Town's Baron Kirov is our clan's mortal enemy. If he sees us buying iron ore in large quantities, he will certainly substantially increase the price of iron ore. It's very disadvantageous for us. It would be better for us to go to Giant Stone City to look for other ore merchants and buy ore from them." Baron Kirov? Yang Feng carefully flipped through Zhao Zhang's memories. Very quickly he found this name. Baron Kirov is Giant Stone City's City Lord Viscount Harley's dog. With the help of Viscount Harley, he unceasingly uses various means to erode Zhao Zhang clan's territory. He is Zhao Zhang clan's most ferocious enemy. Zhao Zhang's death is extremely strange. Yang Feng speculates that Baron Kirov is definitely one of the biggest suspects. Interesting. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth slightly rose. His eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement as he said, "Baron Kirov seems to also have a usury business. Send someone to contact him, say that I fancy Giant Stone City's Miss Qian Qian. I want to help Qian Qian redeem herself. I want to use my Autumn Leaf Town's territory as collateral to borrow 5,000 gold coins from him." Butler Liu was greatly alarmed in his heart. He promptly advised, "Lord, Baron Kirov is a vicious wolf that eats people without blinking. Every month the interest is as high as 4%. Moreover, it's compounded interest. We can't even afford the 5,000 gold coins interest. When the time comes, the foundation of Autumn Leaf Town will certainly be taken away by Baron Kirov." Zhao Feng's face sank as he said, "I have my own plans, go do it." Butler Liu seemed to have aged a dozen years. He gave a long sigh, bowed and left the room. "Yes, Lord." Chapter 3. Blackrock Town is located next to Autumn Leaf Town. There are several large mines in the town's surroundings. This Blackrock Town is also the wealthiest town among the 38 villages and towns under Giant Stone City's jurisdiction. A tall, blue-haired, blue-eyed, aquiline nose, a pair of eyes flashing with a ruthless glint, a tall and sturdy man sat in a luxurious room and said with a cold smile, "That waste Zhao Zhang used Autumn Leaf Town as collateral to borrow 5,000 gold coins to help Sissy redeem her freedom? Haha, for a trifling woman, he even sold his ancestors' property. Truly a waste." This tall white man is Blackrock Town's lord, Baron Kirov. He is Blackrock Town's ruler. He controls Blackrock Town with an iron fist. The entire Blackrock Town's people tremble in fear when they hear his name. If I knew he was such a waste, then I wouldn't have taken the risk to hire Black Scorpion to assassinate him. I wasted 500 gold coins in vain. Baron Kirov's eyebrows wrinkled. He somewhat doubtfully whispered, "Black Scorpion said that Zhao Zhang was already killed by them. What's going on?" Don't tell me it was to swindle my bounty? After pondering for a moment, Baron Kirov raised his head towards a man wearing a butler's uniform standing to the side and said, Gerald, you go and tell Zhao Jiang that I'll only lend him 2,500 gold coins at 4% interest per month. Autumn Leaf Town is only worth 2,500 gold coins. Moreover, he must repay the loan with interest within 2 months.
Jarrow replied respectfully and retreated. Yes,
Lord. Kirov exposed a trace of a proud smile. In another 2 months, Autumn Leaf Town will be in my pocket. If this treasure land of Autumn Leaf Town falls into my hands, then I can obtain at least 2,000 gold coins every year. Autumn Leaf Town is a small town that is extremely suitable for farming. There is a large amount of land around Autumn Leaf Town. Zhao Jiang's clan has always been suppressed by Giant Stone City and Kirov, that's why they seem very embarrassed. The clan unexpectedly can't even take out 1,000 gold coins. If Kirov controls Autumn Leaf Town, then as long as he manages it a bit, he can obtain a huge profit from a large number of immigrants from other places. Autumn Leaf Town. Being a minor aristocrat in a different world really isn't as comfortable as being a commoner in a modern society. Yang Feng walked on Autumn Leaf Town street, somewhat gloomily sighed. In this different world, there were no televisions, no internet, no drinks, and the entertainment was extremely poor. Breakfast was white bread and potato soup. Lunch was also white bread and potato soup, and dinner was white bread and meat soup. After eating this kind of food for a few days, Yang Feng felt that his stomach was somewhat unable to bear it. But after seeing the other residents of Autumn Leaf Village eat the same hard black bread and clear water, Yang Feng felt that his meals could already be considered very good. In this Autumn Leaf Village, even though Yang Feng has enormous power, even if he forcibly abducts women, there is no law that can restrain him. However, the number of young girls in Red Leaf Town was only a few dozen, and their appearances were average. Aside from being youthful and lively, it was difficult to even find a girl who could be called a beauty. In fact, with Xin Lei's power, as long as he beckoned with his finger, all the girls in the town who didn't have a partner would voluntarily go to his bed. However, none of them caught his eye. The reason why Zhao Jiang had always been single was because in this Autumn Leaf Village, he couldn't find a girl he liked. In short, Autumn Leaf Village's mayor cum Baron Yang Feng's enjoyment was even inferior to Earth's modern commoners. Yang Feng passed through Autumn Leaf Village and entered a small house in a wasteland in the north. Yang Feng entered the room and loudly said towards NR 3796. NR 3796. Begin. I can't wait a moment longer. Yes. Master. Please choose your creation. 3796. His hand blossomed with rays of light. All kinds of modern-style buildings and equipment appeared in the air. Yang Feng quickly made his choice. The first thing to ensure is energy. Then first build 100 units of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas. NR 3796 can use energy to synthesize any substance. Its movement also requires a large amount of energy. It can be said that energy is its life. Under the current relatively peaceful circumstances, Yang Feng chose to build energy-absorbing units. Solar energy-absorbing umbrellas are the most suitable units for absorbing energy at the moment. 3796 quickly went outside, extended his hand. A blue ray of light shot out from his hand and illuminated those piles of iron ore. Those piles of iron ore, under the illumination of that blue ray of light, quickly decomposed into steel chunks and various substances. Those steel chunks and some substances twisted together, at once deformed into countless components. Those countless components under the illumination of the blue ray of light automatically assembled into an umbrella-like solar energy-absorbing umbrella. A solar energy-absorbing umbrella took shape. A thin line immediately extended from NR 3790 excess body and pierced the bottom of the solar energy-absorbing umbrella, absorbing the solar energy-absorbing umbrella's energy. Every half an hour, a solar energy-absorbing umbrella would appear in the wasteland. 1 day later, 48 solar energy-absorbing umbrellas covered the wasteland. 2 days later, 96 solar energy-absorbing umbrellas appeared in the wasteland. On the third day, beside NR 3976 appeared a 3 m tall, cylindrical, 16 mechanical arms. Each mechanical arm was respectively embedded with drills, hammers, pliers, electric welders and other kinds of equipment. On the fourth day, the number of engineering robots multiplied to 3, and the number of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas multiplied to 200. On the fifth day, the number of engineering robots multiplied to 9, and the number of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas multiplied to 300. On the 6th day, the number of engineering robots multiplied to 27, and the number of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas multiplied to 400. On the 7th day, the number of engineering robots multiplied to 81, and the number of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas multiplied to 500. On the 8th day, the number of engineering robots multiplied to 243, and the number of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas multiplied to 600. On the 9th day, earth-shattering changes occurred in the wasteland, as numerous factories appeared out of thin air, and rumbling sounds continuously resounded from within the factories. On the 10th day, as if countless flowers had sprouted from the wasteland, 2,000 solar energy-absorbing umbrellas appeared, frantically absorbing all kinds of energy. Manufacturing requires 100 Kuan of energy. Overall evaluation level 7. Lightning supersonic fighter jet, equipped with 150 mm caliber machine gun, 2 blazing air-to-air missiles, and 2 Falcon air-to-ground missiles. Overall evaluation 7. Manufacturing requires 100 Kuan of energy. Takeoff requires a runway. Giant elephant heavy-duty bomber, manufacturing requires 100 Kuan of energy. Overall evaluation level 7. Thunder Demon heavy-duty transport aircraft, manufacturing requires 60 Kuan of energy. Overall evaluation level 5. Yang Feng looked at the information of all kinds of battle weapons, his eyebrows slightly creased and he said in a deep voice, "The highest is only level 7, isn't that too weak? There aren't any higher-leveled battle weapons?" When he obtained the inheritance, Yang Feng saw a lot of terrifying battle weapons. The might of each of those battle weapons wasn't something that trifling level 7 robots could compare to. There is, however, my current maximum energy limit is 100 Kuan. I can only manufacture parts below 100 Kuan. Level 8 and above battle robots require more than 100 Kuan to manufacture parts. Currently, I'm unable to manufacture those parts, and also unable to manufacture level 8 and above battle robots. To solve this problem, there are 3 ways. The first way is to manufacture a fortified stronghold. Using the fortified stronghold's large-scale energy and material converter, it can directly convert higher-leveled materials. The second way is to find suitable materials. The third way is to upgrade this place's science and technology step by step, construct even more munitions factories, until this place's science and technology can manufacture those materials and parts. Fortified stronghold? Yang Feng's mind moved, looking towards the bottom. A mobile fortified stronghold with a diameter of 3,000 meters. Equipped with 100 rhombus laser cannons, 100 200 mm heavy cannons, 345 mm heavy cannons, 100 basic stronghold cannons, and a level 3 large protective shield. Requires 10,000 tons of steel, 100,000 Kuan of energy, dimensional crystal, overall battle strength evaluation level 10. Fuck! Yang Feng cursed in a low voice. That 10,000 tons of steel requires 20 to 30,000 tons of iron ore. A ton of iron ore is approximately 2 gold coins. 30,000 tons of iron ore is equivalent to 60,000 gold coins. If one were to use normal means to purchase, even Autumn Leaf Village's 100 years of income wouldn't be enough. As for energy, a solar energy umbrella can absorb 0.01 Kuan of energy per day. Currently, 2,000 solar energy umbrellas can only absorb 20 Kuan of energy. With the current progress, it would take a full 50,000 days to gather enough energy for a portable fortified stronghold. As for the dimensional crystal, Yang Feng has never even heard of its existence. Chapter 5. Terminator. This is great. 3 Terminators as my bodyguards. This kind of treatment, even the leaders of the countries on Earth can't compare. Yang Feng looked at the 3 humanoid robots in front of him and couldn't help but praise loudly. Terminator bodyguards, this is a man's romance. In front of Yang Feng stood 3 humanoid robots. Each one had a grim expression, wore black sunglasses, wore a black cloak, had a tall stature, and looked extremely cool. The bladed troops had 2 superalloy blades on their backs. The gunner troops had a 12.5 mm caliber heavy machine gun on their backs,
and the artillery troops had a 120mm caliber heavy cannon barrel on their backs.
These 3 humanoid robots had great research value.
If they were to be sold on Earth, the price of each one would probably be more than 100 million yuan.
Casually selling one, Yang Feng wouldn't have to worry for a lifetime. Number 3796 reminded, Master, this design greatly reduces their combat ability. The human form was not the best form for battle.
If they are designed to look like spiders or other beasts, their combat power can be increased by at least 20% and up to 120%. The bladed troops form was originally a beast form with 8 blade-like arms. Now that it was simplified by Yang Feng into a human form, its battle prowess immediately dropped by a lot. Yang Feng smiled slightly and explained, in terms of battle prowess, beast form might be much stronger than human form. However, this was human society. These humanoid robots are much more convenient than those beast-shaped robots. Number 3796 said,
Yes. Yang Feng said, by the way, help me deduce when I will be able to cultivate the Thunderox method to the Great Knight rank.
Yes.
Deduction begins. Modeling analysis. This deduction would consume 0.1 Kuan of energy. Deductions begin. Number 3796's eyes flashed with a red light, using his supercomputing ability to begin deductions. 20 seconds later. The deduction is complete. Based on your current situation, Master. If you follow the optimal training method that I've designed after optimizing it, you'll be able to become a beginner warrior in 2 years, an intermediate warrior in 5 years, and an advanced warrior in 10 years. I can't break through the knight level and become a grand knight. Yang Feng felt very incredulous, saying, how is this possible? This Thunder Ox art could be cultivated to the Grand Knight level. After your optimization, why can't I even promote to a knight? There are 2 reasons. The first reason is that you have missed the best age to cultivate. According to the analysis, the best age to cultivate this cultivation technique is from 9 to 16 years old. The second reason is that Master's cultivation aptitude is the most useless of all useless, or in short, super useless.
It is incompatible with the Thunder Ox technique, and without the help of external forces, it is simply impossible to break through and become a knight-level practitioner.
Number 3796 ruthlessly said. Super trash. Yang Feng was somewhat speechless. He didn't think that his cultivation aptitude would actually be this poor. Number 3796 comforted him. But Master, you don't need to feel too inferior.
In fact, after thousands of years of degeneration, the people of Earth are basically super trash when it comes to cultivation.
You're not the only one. Yang Feng was somewhat speechless when he heard that, but he finally felt a bit better. Yang Feng asked, is there a solution? If it's the Shizu, don't tell me they didn't collect any cultivation methods? Using Star River Golden Flower, Sun True Water, Amethyst 7-colored fruit, Star Field Fetal Membrane, these treasures can easily let you directly promote to a level 10 expert. A trifling knight can be casually slapped to death. Moreover, it can also completely upgrade your cultivation aptitude. All of the townspeople in Red Leaf Town fled back to their homes in fear. They grabbed their weapons and trembled in fear. Close the gates. Immediately close the gates. You idiots. Hurry up. For the sake of your own lives, quickly close the gates. Near the gates of Autumn Leaf Castle, an officer with a pale complexion directed those warriors to close the castle gates. Under the officer's angry scolding, the gate of the castle finally closed slowly. Lord, it's not good. The Black Wind Bandits have arrived. The Black Wind Bandits have arrived. Manager Lu's complexion was pale. With a panic-stricken expression he rushed into the castle's garden, shouting towards Yang Feng. Chapter 6. Black Wind Bandits? What's their origin? Yang Feng's eyebrows slightly creased as he followed Manager Lu towards the castle's city wall. Manager Lu then explained the Black Wind Bandits' origin to Yang Feng in detail. Black Wind Bandits is a bandit group active in the vicinity of Giant Stone City. They are all composed of cavalrymen. They come and go like the wind. They are extremely cunning. They plunder caravans and villages everywhere. Giant Stone City has sent troops several times to encircle and suppress them, but they were all defeated by the Black Wind Bandits. After several failures, everyone came to know that the Black Wind Bandits' leader Barry is a terrifying expert with the strength of a knight. Knight is the title given to experts who practice knight secret methods and break through the limits of the mortal body. An ordinary knight can casually use a 200 kilograms weapon. After wearing a knight armor covering their whole body, they are even more like an invulnerable tank. Their battle prowess is extraordinary. No one can match them. Among the several hundred people in Autumn Leaf Village, there is not a single knight rank expert. Autumn Leaf Castle's strongest expert is Autumn Leaf Castle's guard commander Xiaofan. He is only an intermediate warrior. If there is no city wall to protect, a knight can easily kill everyone in Autumn Leaf Castle. Generally speaking, experts with the cultivation of a knight will be recruited by major aristocrats. However, there are also some knights who for various reasons degenerate into bandits and criminals. Those knights who degenerate and become criminals are undoubtedly the most terrifying existence. Manager Lu told Yang Feng about the Black Wind Bandits' terror, while secretly looking at the 4 burly bodyguards at Yang Feng's side. His eyes flashed with a touch of suspicion. Autumn Leaf Village is a small town with a small population. The arrival of strangers will certainly cause no small sensation. When Yang Feng went out for a trip, there were 4 burly bodyguards at his side. Manager Lu was puzzled in his heart. However, Manager Lu is also clear that now is a dangerous time, so he didn't ask any questions that he shouldn't have asked. Yang Feng arrived above the city wall. He saw more than 100 fully armed cavalrymen wearing black cloaks riding on good horses galloping towards him. In front of the cavalrymen, a warrior wearing a knight's heavy armor riding a wildebeest is like a tank, his whole body emitting a kind of formidable oppressive feeling. Yang Feng looked around the city wall for a moment. There were 36 warriors on top of the city wall, 10 of which were archers, 8 of which were beginner warriors, and the only intermediate warrior was the guard commander Zhao En. Using this little bit of strength to maintain Red Leaf Town's security was not a problem. However, if they wanted to deal with a Black Wind bandit group that possessed a knight, it would undoubtedly be like striking a rock with an egg. The soldiers on top of the city wall looked at the Black Wind bandits in the distance, their faces pale. Some of the soldiers' legs were even trembling, and even their hands that were holding their weapons were shaking. If it weren't for the protection of the 6-meter-tall city wall, the morale of these soldiers would have collapsed, and they wouldn't be able to fight anymore. All of the warriors in Autumn Leaf Castle had only fought for public security. They simply couldn't be compared to the warriors of the Black Wind Bandits who had experienced countless life and death battles. Every member of the Black Wind Bandit group was a low-level warrior. Moreover, they were low-level warriors who had experienced countless life and death battles. In a one-on-one fight, even Zhao En, the strongest in Red Leaf Town, might not necessarily be able to kill a warrior from the Black Wind Bandit group. The more than 100 Black Wind Bandits quickly arrived in front of Autumn Leaf Castle like a whirlwind. Barry, who was covered with a Black Knight's heavy armor, very easily dismounted from his horse. Through the gap of his helmet, he coldly looked at Autumn Leaf Castle. The more than 100 Black Wind Bandits members also skillfully dismounted from their horses and stood behind Barry. Their faces were full of sarcasm as they looked at Autumn Leaf Castle. Without any nonsense, Barry pulled out a huge knight's great sword from his back and strode towards Autumn Leaf Castle. Behind Barry, the more than 100 Black Wind Bandits followed behind Barry and charged towards Autumn Leaf Castle. "Shoot the arrows! Shoot the arrows! Shoot him to death! Shoot Barry to death!" Zhaoen's face was pale as he loudly shouted. The 10 archers on top of the city wall desperately shot towards Barry. 10 arrows immediately shot towards Barry like raindrops. The level of training of the 10 archers was obviously not high. 9 out of 10 arrows missed their target. Only 1 arrow hit Barry's shoulder and then bounced off. Barry continued to rush towards Autumn Leaf Castle like a terrifying tank. He wasn't even the slightest bit affected. All the warriors on top of the city wall seeing this scene were frightened out of their wits and their morale fell. The second round of arrows didn't even graze Barry's body. "Awesome! This is a heavy knight, really awesome." Yang Feng looked at the unbridled charge in the midst of the rain of arrows. His eyes flashed with a touch of admiration. After a few breaths, Barry directly arrived under Autumn Leaf Castle's city wall. His whole body erupted with a terrifying imposing manner, and with a forceful step, he abruptly leaped up, leaping over the 6 meters high wall of Autumn Leaf Castle. He jumped on top of the wall, and casually chopped down with his sword, directly cutting a soldier in 2 at the waist. Blood splattered everywhere, and internal organs scattered. Autumn Leaf Castle's warriors on top of the city wall had never experienced a bloody battle. Seeing such a terrifying scene, Their morale directly collapsed and they fled in all directions.
Barry! 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 Barry!
Under the city wall, the Black Wind Bandits members raised their weapons and issued bursts of fanatical and excited cheers. Barry coldly swept the Autumn Leaf Castle's warriors in all directions. He waved his hand and ropes were immediately thrown down from above the city wall. The Black Wind Bandits below immediately grabbed hold of ropes and began to climb up with great dexterity. Manager Lu's legs trembled. He glanced at the god of death like Barry and said in a trembling voice, "My lord, let's escape." No matter how high his martial arts are, a single shot will knock him down. A trifling knight, in front of guns and cannons, he's just a slag. Yang Feng coldly smiled and directly pulled out a 9mm caliber pistol from his waist. He aimed at Barry and pulled the trigger. Bang! 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 That unbridled Barry was hit 6 times. The 9mm caliber pistol bullet hit Barry's knight's heavy armor and penetrated it. 6 bloody holes were opened on his body. Blood continuously gushed out from his body. "You actually injured me. Damned yellow-skinned bastard. You actually dared to injure the great knight Barry. I'll crush your bones inch by inch, then chop you up and feed you to the dogs." Barry's body was hit 6 times. His eyes were red and flashed with an endless ominous glint. He bellowed and his whole body erupted with a terrifying power. 6 bloody bullets abruptly ejected from his body. Chapter 7. Yang Feng saw Barry force the 6 bullets out of his body. He couldn't help but say, "So awesome. Even the bullets can be forced out. Knights are really awesome. No wonder it's so difficult to practice cultivation. On Earth, it's impossible to force the 6 bullets out of the body after being shot 6 times. Barry was simply the #1 martial Dao expert that Yang Feng had ever seen. But Barry was merely a knight. There were still 3 ranks above him: Great Knight, Earth Knight and Sky Knight. And knights weren't this world's most formidable forces. Warlocks were this world's peak peerless experts. A trifling knight was already formidable to this extent, then who knows how formidable warlocks would be. This bit of knowledge made Yang Feng feel a trace of reverence towards this world. In Tyrandot subcontinent, as long as one advanced to a knight, then one would possess extraordinary strength, possessing strength far surpassing that of ordinary humans. Barry gave an angry roar, directly pulled out his great sword and madly rushed towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng said faintly, "Blade One, go exchange a few blows with him. Apart from the head, you can attack the rest of his body." The Dao wearing sunglasses standing beside Yang Feng pulled out 2 superalloy blades one by one. His figure shook, as if a fierce tiger pounced towards Barry, at once appeared in front of Barry and fiercely chopped at him with his blade. Barry raised his great sword to block. Ding! An incomparably ear-piercing sound of metal striking reverberated in the area. Barry's complexion paled. His figure violently retreated, drops of blood dripping from under his visor. "Knight! How could you have a knight rank expert as your bodyguard?" Barry's eyes flashed with a whiff of horror as he cried out involuntarily. Supporting a knight was extremely difficult. The price of Barry's knight full body armor was more than 400 gold coins. Apart from that, the lowest salary of a knight was no less than 20 gold coins per month, plus equipment maintenance, feeding horses and other expenses. Supporting a knight for a month would cost more than 30 gold coins. It's basically not something that a lesser aristocrat like Zhao Jiang could support. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with an excited radiance. He said in a low voice, "With a human body, he's actually able to block a robot's all-out attack. Truly amazing. Worthy of being an expert that surpasses the limits of a mortal's body." The bladed troop injured Barry with a single slash. It madly stomped the ground and continued to chop at Barry with a huge alloy war blade in its hand. Barry let out a furious roar, and his whole body erupted with a powerful life force. He waved the alloy sword in his hand and fought with the saber. After activating his powerful life force, Barry barely managed to withstand Sword One's ferocious attack. Even so, he was still at a complete disadvantage and was on the verge of collapsing. It looked like he would not be able to withstand 100 moves from Sword One. "Follow me. Once the city is breached, we'll massacre the entire city for 3 days." The vice leader of the Black Wind Bandits roared with a fierce glint in his eyes. "Kill! Kill!" The eyes of the over 100 bandits of the Black Wind Bandits flashed with a bloodthirsty glint. They quickly arrived at the bottom of the city wall, grabbed ropes, and climbed up. Yang Feng swept the Black Wind Bandits with a glance and said with a cold smile, Gun 1, kill them all, don't leave a single one alive. Gun 1, who was carrying a
12.5 mm heavy machine gun in each hand and a huge box of bullets on his back, quickly arrived at the top of the city wall.
The two
12.5 mm heavy machine guns in his hands all at once spouted extremely ferocious flames.
The sound of heavy machine guns tearing through cloth at once echoed in the area. A bandit was shot in the head by a 12.5 mm bullet. His head burst open like a watermelon. A bandit was shot in the shoulder by a 12.5 mm bullet. His arm immediately split open. A bandit was shot in the chest. A huge bloody hole appeared in his chest. In front of that terrifying metal storm, those bandits didn't have the strength to resist. Blood splattered everywhere, turning into corpses one after another.
Leader, quickly flee!
The Black Wind Bandits' vice leader watched as his subordinates were torn apart in front of that metal storm. His eyes were bloodshot and he wailed mournfully. In the next moment, a dozen heavy machine gun bullets bombarded the vice leader's body, instantly tearing his body into pieces. In less than 3 minutes, the Black Wind Bandits that shook Giant Stone City and the surrounding towns were cleanly massacred, turning into piles of minced meat and corpses. Using flesh and blood to resist the metal storm, it has already been proven countless times in history to be the most foolish behavior.
Zhao Jiang, you bastard, return my brother's life.
Barry's eyes were bloodshot as he howled mournfully. Yang Feng coldly said, pigs and dogs of bandits also learn to be loyal to others. Gun 1, start. Gun 1 by 1, the heavy machine gun's muzzle aimed at Barry. The heavy machine gun's sound of tearing through cloth once again echoed. The heavy machine gun's bullets easily penetrated Barry's heavy knight armor, directly tearing his lower body into pieces. Countless amounts of blood splattered everywhere. Blade 1 took advantage of the situation and stepped forward, brandishing that huge alloy blade and fiercely chopped down, directly beheading Barry. The warriors above Autumn Leaf Castle's city wall were dumbstruck when they saw this scene, as if they were in a dream. That night Barry, who was almost like an invincible demon god, was actually easily killed by the two experts under Yang Feng's command. Those more than 100 Black Wind Bandits members were also turned into pieces. It was simply unimaginable. Manager Lu's eyes flashed with excitement, his voice trembling as he said, Warlock alchemist. Lord, did you obtain the power of a warlock alchemist? The warriors above the city wall also looked at Yang Feng with anticipation, awe and worship in their eyes. Warlock, that is the pinnacle of Tyrandot subcontinent's experts. They possess all kinds of outrageous extraordinary powers. Even if it was Fernandro Principality's king who met an official level 1 warlock, he would also have to be respectful, not daring to have any neglect. Only the power of a warlock could easily destroy the Black Wind Bandits, this kind of armed force. Yang Feng lightly said, That's right, I obtained the power of a warlock alchemist.
Great! Great!
Our Zhao clan can finally bring glory to our family name and carry forward. Manager Lu's body trembled, his eyes flowing with turbid tears. He excitedly muttered. The rest of Autumn Leaf Castle's warriors also issued bursts of excited cheers. To be able to become a warlock subordinates, their future is bright. Yang Feng let Sword 1 carry Barry's severed head towards the direction of NR 3796 munitions factory. Once at the munitions factory, Yang Feng gave Barry's severed head to NR 3796, letting it read Barry's severed head's memories. Not long after, Barry's memories were read one by one, letting Yang Feng know the ins and outs of the matter. The Black Wind Bandits is the black gloves of Count Locke of Woodrock City next to Giant Stone City. Count Locke and Viscount He Lu are a pair of mortal enemies. Both sides are entangled in endless struggle. After Yang Feng borrowed a large amount of gold coins from Baron Kirov, Autumn Leaf Town is very likely to be annexed by Baron Kirov, strengthening Baron Kirov's strength. Count Locke then dispatched the Black Wind Bandits to exterminate Zhao clan. If the Zhao family is completely exterminated, the Zhao family's fief will be taken back to Fernandro Principality. Earl Locke will be able to use various means to transfer a noble close to Earl Locke here, and invade Viscount Harley's territory. The enemy of my enemy is not necessarily my friend. Weakness is a sin. Strength is the truth. A trace of enlightenment welled up in Yang Feng's mind. If Yang Feng didn't possess the power of Shi Clan's inheritance, then he might have already become a corpse, not even knowing why he died. Chapter 8. Blackrock Town is one of the 10 towns under the jurisdiction of Giant Stone City. Black Rock Town is surrounded by mountains. Most of the land isn't suitable for farming. However, there are several large iron ore veins in Black Rock Town's surroundings. Black Rock Town's Baron Kirov relied on several large iron ore veins to turn Black Rock Town into a steel smelting and weapon manufacturing town. Black Rock Town's weapons are supplied to countless aristocrats of Fernandro Principality, earning Baron Kirov enormous wealth. Black Rock Town's prosperity is also far above that of Autumn Leaf Town. Autumn Leaf Town's total population is less than 1,000, while Black Rock Town's population is as high as 30,000. Black Rock Town is also the most prosperous town among the 10 towns under the jurisdiction of Giant Stone City. Black Rock Town's only shortcoming is that it's unable to produce its own food. Every year it needs to purchase large amounts of food from various places. It's precisely because of this that Baron Kirov set his sights on Zhao Clan's Autumn Leaf Town. As long as he gets his hands on the fertile Autumn Leaf Town, Baron Kirov will no longer lack food. 2 kilometers outside Black Rock Town, on top of a small hillside, Yang Feng stands on top of the hillside, overlooking the distant Black Rock Town. Behind him stand 50 level, 4 bladed troops, 50 level, 4 gunner troops, 10 artillery troops as well as 2 level, 5 liquid metal robots. All the robots are dressed in a pitch-black battle gown, looking awe-inspiring and full of murderous intent. Yang Feng pointed towards Black Rock Town and ordered, "Black Rock Town, I want it. Go and seize Black Rock Town for me. Those who resist will be killed without mercy." "Yes, owner." Those 112 robots simultaneously responded loudly with a mechanical synthesized voice. Finished speaking, 30 bladed troops, 30 gunner troops, 5 artillery troops as well as 1 level 5 liquid metal robot immediately rushed down the hillside, directly rushing towards Black Rock Town. Yang Feng took out a metal helmet and immediately put it on. That metal helmet is called Consciousness Transmission Helmet. It can transmit Yang Feng's consciousness to any robot within a radius of 5 kilometers equipped with a receiving microchip. This allows Yang Feng to directly control those battle robots equipped with receiving microchips. In Tyrandot subcontinent, there are knights with incomparably formidable physical strength. There are also strange and incomparably formidable warlocks. Many warlocks grasp the terrifying power to silently and directly kill people. Yang Feng didn't dare to personally go to the battlefield, otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Before fusing with the inheritance robot NR 3796, Yang Feng's body was very fragile, even an ordinary person could kill him. A powerful warlock would be able to kill him with just a little bit of effort. In a split second, Yang Feng's spirit linked with a level 5 liquid metal robot. The level 5 liquid metal robot's body distorted and quickly transformed into Yang Feng's body. This is the ability of the Shizu powerhouses. They can freely shuttle through the bodies of the robots under their command and completely control any robot. As long as his soul was not destroyed, he could be reborn in any robot's body. If you're about to die of old age and haven't found a way to extend your lifespan, becoming a robot is also a good choice. Yang Feng twisted his body and discovered that the body transformed from the liquid metal robot wasn't any worse than his own body. It was just like another body of his. It's a pity that this body can't feel anything. Yang Feng fiercely used all of his strength and pinched his right hand, almost deforming his right hand. Even so, his right hand still didn't feel anything. NR The 10M high city wall, even a knight rank expert is unable to jump over it. A great knight rank expert also needs to take off their heavy armor in order to be able to jump over such a high city wall. Above Black Rock Castle's city wall stands more than 200 soldiers. Those soldiers are wearing leather armor and all kinds of weapons, standing at their posts. Their spirit, chi and spirit are obviously several times more formidable than Autumn Leaf Castle's warriors. Above the city wall are placed 2 heavy crossbows. Each heavy crossbow is up to 7m long. The crossbow's length is also up to 7m long. It requires 5 to 6 people to simultaneously operate. Only then can one heavy crossbow be directly pulled. That heavy crossbow's might is boundless. Even if a great knight rank expert was shot by an arrow, they would also be killed. Chapter 9. Baron Kirov went up the city wall, bowed deeply towards Yang Feng and said respectfully, "I'm Black Rock Town's lord, Baron Kirov. Honorable Warlock Darren, may I ask why you want to attack my Black Rock Town? If Black Rock Town has offended you in any way, then I hope to be able to pay gold coins to appease you." As an aristocrat, Baron Kirov is very clear about warlock strength and nobility. In Tyrandot's subcontinent, any state must have the support of an official warlock. A state that loses the support of a warlock will be destroyed. Then a new state will be born or it will be annexed by other states.
Baron Kirov, do you still recognize me?
Yang Feng took off the mask on his face, revealing Zhao Zhang's face, and said with a slight smile towards Baron Kirov. Baron Kirov's complexion changed greatly. A trace of an ominous premonition welled up in his heart. He involuntarily said, "Baron Zhao Zhang." Baron Kirov's thoughts turned lightning fast and he quickly said, "Baron Zhao Zhang, attacking a baron's territory for no reason, that's a felony. If the people of the council come to know of it, then your title and territory will be directly stripped. It's still not too late for you to leave now. This matter, I can pretend that it didn't happen." Within Fernando Principality, attacking another aristocrat's territory is absolutely an extremely serious crime. Once discovered, even if it's a bigwig like Viscount Harley, he will also be stripped of his title and territory. Baron Kirov has always wanted to seize Zhao Zhang's title and territory, but he has no choice but to use all kinds of underhanded means. He absolutely doesn't dare to directly attack Zhao Zhang's territory. Yang Feng gave a cold smile, his gaze was cold as he said, "Baron Kirov, you actually dare to send people to assassinate me. Today, I'll send you on your way. Please repent properly in hell. Attack. Kill all those who resist." Yang Feng's development in Autumn Leaf Town has already reached a bottleneck. Blackrock Town has a large amount of ore, that's his goal. Only by seizing Blackrock Town can Yang Feng rapidly develop and manufacture more and more powerful robots. Only by having more and more powerful robots can he survive better in this world. No matter what Baron Kirov says, Yang Feng won't give up on seizing Blackrock Town. 30 gunner troops at once aimed the muzzles of their heavy machine guns above the city wall and pulled the triggers. Tongues of flame spat out, and in an instant, the entire city wall was covered in blood. Under the heavy machine gun bullets, almost all the soldiers who stuck their heads out were blown up. Baron Kirov was also torn apart by countless heavy machine gun bullets, turning into minced meat that fell to the ground.
The 5 artillerymen aimed their 120mm heavy cannons directly at the entrance of the Black Rock Fort.
With a flash of fire, the gates of the Black Rock Fort were blasted into smithereens. The figures of 30 bladed troops, whose battle prowess was comparable to a knight rank, flashed and directly rushed into the Black Rock Castle. From within the Black Rock Fort came a series of screams and wails. Before long, Black Rock Castle's resistance was easily suppressed and Black Rock Castle, which carried a strong smell of blood, fell under Yang Feng's control. Without experts with extraordinary powers such as knights and warlocks keeping watch, ordinary humans were basically unable to resist Yang Feng's mechanical legion. Once Black Rock Castle fell, the entire Black Rock town fell into Yang Feng's hands. Yang Feng immediately dispatched a large number of bladed troops as well as a large number of mining robots to directly occupy the mines, resume production and excavate ores. At the same time, a large number of energy-absorbing sun umbrellas also continuously blossomed in the mountains and wastelands surrounding Black Rock Town. One by one, engineering robots, as if worker ants, bustled about in a large wasteland and began to build a large-scale munitions factory. Within the entire Black Rock Town's mines, the sounds of machinery rumbled unceasingly. All kinds of large iron and steel smelting machinery and equipment were manufactured by those engineering robots. Those mining robots, with mining tools in their hands, by far surpassed this era's mining tools, entered the mines and unceasingly excavated ores day and night. After upgrading all kinds of mining equipment, Black Rock Town's daily output of ores was more than 100 times that of the past. After obtaining the large amount of ores produced by Black Rock Town, Autumn Leaf Town's munitions factory also operated at full horsepower. Every day a large number of mining robots, engineering robots and battle robots were produced and transported to Black Rock Town. Due to Yang Feng killing Baron Kirov, within Black Rock Town appeared a large number of people fleeing. A large number of miners, townspeople, lesser aristocrats and freedmen directly fled from Black Rock Town, mainly moving in the direction of Giant Stone City. If it was an ordinary aristocrat lord, a large number of his subjects fleeing would absolutely give them a headache. After all, every subject has to pay taxes. It's the lord's wealth. But for Yang Feng, it doesn't matter if his subjects flee. For him, his mechanical legion is the most loyal subject that creates the most wealth. After plundering the entire Black Rock Castle, Yang Feng collected a total of 30,000 gold coins in cash, as well as a large number of antiques, works of art, deeds for all kinds of real estate in Giant Stone City, deeds for houses. Blackrock Town is a small town rich in all kinds of ores, although Baron Kirov needs to take out a large amount of money every year to bribe everyone. But his wealth also exceeds 200,000 gold coins, but the majority of his wealth is used to buy all kinds of real estate in Giant Stone City, all kinds of works of art and antiques. The cash on hand is also very limited, merely 30,000 gold coins. From Baron Kirov's brain, Yang Feng read a lot of information. He obtained a cultivation method that can be practiced until the knight rank. But that knight cultivation method can only be practiced until the knight rank. It's far from being comparable to Zhao Clan's Thunderox. Yang Feng also doesn't have any interest in practicing it. Mini reconnaissance satellites flew into the sky, scouting Giant Stone City's movements. From the information obtained from Baron Kirov's brain, Giant Stone City's population is as high as 600,000. The number of knights in Giant Stone City exceeds 100. Viscount Harley alone had over 30 knights and 3 grand knights under his command. In addition, Giant Stone City also has more than 30 apprentice warlocks. An Earth Knight's rank is comparable to a level 3 apprentice warlock. A Sky Knight's battle prowess is comparable to a level 1 official warlock. But the number of experts able to practice until Earth Knight and Sky Knight are very few. Only the followers of some extremely powerful warlocks could possibly become Earth Knights, Sky Knights and other such experts. In Fernandro Principality, the number of Knight rank powerhouses was more than 10,000, but there was only one Sky Knight rank powerhouse. The scarcity of Sky Knights can be imagined. Giant Stone City's strength. Yang Feng has the confidence to rely on his mechanical legion to destroy them. But behind Giant Stone City there's a warlock force called Black Cottage supporting them. That Black Cottage has an incomparably formidable level 1 warlock. In Tyrandot subcontinent, warlocks are the pinnacle of experts. If a level 1 warlock participates in a mortal's battle, then if the other side doesn't have the means to keep them in check, then a level 1 warlock can very easily behead the enemy's high-ranking officer amidst an army of 10,000, destroying the enemy's will to resist. Currently, Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion's main forces are level 4 Mechanical Legion. After the main forces are replaced with level 6 Mechanical Legion, only then will he have the absolute certainty to defeat a level 1 warlock. After occupying Blackrock Town, Yang Feng's forces are unceasingly expanding with each passing day. His forces will skyrocket by a fraction. Time is on his side. Chapter 10. Giant Stone City is one of Fernandro Principality's 16 major cities. The city's population is as high as 600,000. Giant Stone City's city lord's mansion in the center of Giant Stone City. In a conference hall sat 5 men. Sitting in the main seat is a man with short golden hair, blue eyes, aquiline nose, fair skin, a tall and sturdy figure, exuding a gloomy and formidable aura. This man is Giant Stone City's city lord, Viscount Harley. Apart from Viscount Harley, the other 4 men are respectively Giant Stone City's 4 great clans' patriarchs, Portman clan, Bennett clan, Manny clan and Luge clan's patriarchs. Viscount Harley and Giant Stone City's 4 great clans jointly control everything in Giant Stone City. Viscount Harley slowly said, Blackrock Town's Baron Kirov was killed. The 4 great clans' patriarchs looked at each other and remained silent. After Baron Kirov was killed by Yang Feng, the news quickly reached their ears. But the person involved was an expert who obtained a warlock's inheritance. This made them extremely fearful. Among the 4 great clans, each of the clans has a few apprentice warlocks. They are very clear on how strange and formidable warlocks' methods are. If they provoke a formidable official warlock, then the destruction of their clans will be very easy. As long as Yang Feng doesn't encroach on their core interests, they can remain silent. Viscount Harley's eyebrows slightly creased as he said in a deep voice, I intend to ask Black Cottage for help. I'll ask them to eliminate that wicked apprentice warlock. Portman clan's patriarch asked, Apprentice warlock? City Lord Darren, are you sure that it's an apprentice warlock? The difference in strength between an apprentice warlock and an official warlock is like a moat. An apprentice warlock may be besieged and killed by a mortal army. But an official warlock, as long as he isn't stupid enough to fight to the death with a mortal army, he can absolutely behead the commander of the mortal army and then easily leave. Some formidable warlocks can even defeat a 10,000-person mortal army by themselves. Giant Stone City has 5,000 regular troops, plus all the apprentice warlocks joining forces to fight against a level 1 warlock. The odds are still against them. After all, a level One warlock can easily kill all the apprentice warlocks as long as he secretly acts. Unless that level, one warlock is stupid enough to wait for Giant Stone City to assemble all of its troops and apprentice warlocks, and then fight with them. Viscount Harley said in a deep voice. If it was a level 1 warlock, then he alone would be able to capture Blackrock Town. According to the intelligence, he had mobilized nearly 100 soldiers to capture Blackrock Town. Moreover, if he was an official warlock, he absolutely wouldn't kill an aristocrat for no reason. That would be equivalent to declaring war on the Black Cottages, sir. Only those who have just obtained power and don't know any better would dare to kill a noble without any scruples. In Tyrandot subcontinent, an official warlock wouldn't easily kill an aristocrat if it wasn't necessary. It's very likely that there's another warlock hiding behind those aristocrats. Unless the aristocrat offended an official warlock, then the official warlock would kill the aristocrat without the interference of the other warlock. This was Tyrandot subcontinent's unwritten rule. Warlocks were aloof, their dignity could not be violated. But at the same time, an official warlock must also respect another official warlock, otherwise it will lead to a war between warlocks. Giant Stone City's backer was Black Cottage, this warlock group. Black Cottage's warlocks simply wouldn't care about the battles between mortals. But once an apprentice warlock acted against Giant Stone City and its subsidiary forces, then if there wasn't any special reason, then Black Cottage's warlocks would absolutely dispatch experts to kill that apprentice warlock who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Bennett Clan's patriarch said unhurriedly. Inviting Black Cottage to act, the price won't be light. Warlocks weren't otherworldly existences. On the contrary, warlocks were existences that needed to consume a huge amount of money. Every official warlock possessed a huge amount of wealth, but at the same time their expenses were also frighteningly large. A potion refined by a warlock could be sold for hundreds or even thousands of gold coins. Even a potion worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of gold coins wasn't uncommon. As Giant Stone City's backer, Black Cottage would collect a huge amount of gold coins every year. At the same time, they would casually act for a price of more than 50,000 gold coins. Even Giant Stone City's 4 great clans would feel extreme heartache for such a huge amount of money. It was precisely because of this that Giant Stone City basically wouldn't request Black Cottage's help if there wasn't a major event. The other 3 great clans' patriarchs also focused their gazes on Viscount Harley. Viscount Harley said in a deep voice, "From this year's taxes, we'll take 30,000 gold coins. I'll give another 10,000 gold coins, and each of the 4 of you will give 2,500 gold coins. After we get rid of that ignorant fool, we'll divide the spoils according to the amount of investment." Good. The other 4 great clans' patriarchs nodded in satisfaction. Having convinced the 4 great clans' patriarchs, Viscount Harley arrived at the rear garden. In the rear garden, there was a black crow's nest on top of a white oak tree. After a strange white crow saw Viscount Harley enter the rear garden, it immediately flew to Viscount Harley's arm and spoke in a human voice. "Viscount Harley, did you come here to deliver food to me? I want to eat wild boar, roasted pork thigh that drips with oil. Your cook's culinary skills are truly terrible. I suggest that you directly hang him and replace him with a new one." Viscount Harley slightly respectfully said towards the white crow, "Mr. Bobo Darren, please send my regards to the mighty Black Cottage's master, and tell him that I need his help. An evil warlock force has appeared in Blackrock Town. They're attempting to provoke the mighty Black Cottage's master. We've already prepared a tribute of 50,000 gold coins. We ask the mighty Black Cottage's master to help us dispel this evil." The white crow flapped its wings and said in a loud voice, "Good, Mr. Bobo Darren will convey your words to the mighty Black Cottage's master. However, after Mr. Bobo Darren returns, you want to eat a plump wild boar thigh, roasted until it drips with oil." Viscount Harley said with a smile, "As you wish. After you return, you'll receive a roasted wild boar thigh that drips with oil." The white crow nodded in satisfaction. It flapped its wings and directly flew out of the city lord's mansion. Black Cottage isn't like what ordinary people think. It's hidden in the depths of the mountains and forests. On the contrary, Black Cottage is located in one of Fernando Principality's 16 major cities, Black City. Black City is located 100 kilometers north of Giant Stone City. Its population is as high as 200,000. Black City's area is second only to Fernando Principality's capital, Dragon Rocky City. It's twice as big as Giant Stone City. In the center of Black City, there's a huge area with forests, lakes, streams, hills and other kinds of terrains. It's a dreamlike huge manor. The entire manor practically occupies 1/3 of Black City's area. This huge and beautiful manor is Black Cottage's headquarters. Chapter 11. In the center of the huge manor stood a 3-storied Warlock Pagoda with a total height of 60 m. That Warlock Pagoda's entire body was made of steel rock that was as hard as steel. Steel rock is one of the commonly used materials in the manufacture of Warlock Pagodas. Its degree of hardness is comparable to steel. After being blessed by a warlock, it will possess extraordinary strength. A brick-sized piece of iron rock's price is more than 1 gold coin. That 60 m tall Warlock Pagoda's iron rock alone needs to consume several million gold coins. In addition to other materials, the construction of this Warlock Pagoda might cost more than 10 million gold coins. Although the construction cost of a Warlock Pagoda is extremely expensive, but it also has a variety of wonderful uses. Inside the Warlock Pagoda, a level 1 warlock in coordination with enough apprentice warlocks could even contend against a level 2 warlock. In addition, the Warlock Pagoda could also gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, allowing the experts inside the Warlock Pagoda to speed up their cultivation. Moreover, some formidable warlocks could also use the Warlock Pagoda to manipulate the weather within the scope of the Warlock Pagoda. Some wandering level 2 warlocks who haven't joined any major forces don't even have their own Warlock Pagoda. The reason why Black Cottage was able to possess its own Warlock Pagoda was because they had taken root in Fernandro Principality and would obtain enormous wealth every year. A man dressed in a grey warlock's chongpao with 3 copper threads on the cuffs, looking to be approximately 35 or 36 years old, was watering a strange flower with a cat-like face in the garden next to the Warlock Pagoda. The grey warlock's chongpao represented that the man in his 30s was an apprentice warlock. The 3 copper lines on his cuffs represent that he is a level 3 apprentice warlock. Above a level 3 apprentice warlock is an official level 1 warlock. But there was a huge gap between level 3 apprentice warlocks and level 1 warlocks. Level 3 apprentice warlocks weren't considered too rare in Black Cottage, but there was only one level 1 warlock, Black Cottage's master. Solo, the water is too bland today. I want to drink honey water. Don't try to fool me with sugar water. The cat-faced flower swayed its body and bared its fangs. Solo smiled and said, "We've run out of honey. I'll go buy more in the afternoon." "No, I'm going now. I'm dying of thirst. Without honey, I will die." The cat-faced flower argued with Solo. "Wait a moment, the white raven is back." Solo looked up at the sky. A white crow descended from the sky and landed on his right arm. "Solo, Boulder City is in trouble." As soon as the white crow landed on Solo's right arm, it chirped out Viscount Harley's words in one go. Solo calmly listened to everything, then turned around and walked towards the Warlock Pagoda. Solo arrived at the Warlock Pagoda's 3rd floor, stopped in front of the deepest door, and knocked on the door. "Teacher, I'm Solo." "Come in." A slightly aged voice came from the door. Solo pushed open the door. In the room, a white-haired old man wearing a black robe with a silver thread embroidered on the cuffs was writing something at a rapid speed in front of a table. This old man wearing a black pow was Black Cottage's master, the official level 1 Warlock Bonnie, the ruler of Black City. The fates of Black City's 200,000 residents were all in his hands. Bonnie didn't raise his head but said somewhat impatiently, "What's the matter? Quickly say it." "Teacher, Black Rock Town has been invaded by a warlock force." Sony respectfully reported the information he heard from the White Raven to Bonnie, not missing a word. Bonnie said somewhat impatiently, "Let Rooney, Poke and James take a few level 2 apprentice warlocks to Boulder City to support." Rooney, Poke and James are all level 3 apprentice warlocks, plus some level 2 apprentice warlocks. They can completely defeat a 1,000-people army composed of mortals. "Yes, teacher," Sony respectfully responded, then withdrew. Before leaving, he very carefully closed the door. Not long after, a caravan set off from Black City towards Boulder City. 3 days later, the caravan entered Boulder City. At night, in Boulder City's City Lord's mansion, a grand banquet was held to welcome the arrival of Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks. After a night of revelry, Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks rested for another day. On the 3rd day, an elite army of 2,000 people set off from Boulder City, moving towards Black Rock Town. Is this Boulder City's main force? So many people. Yang Feng launched 4 microsatellites to constantly monitor Boulder City's movements. Boulder City's army had just set off when he received the news. He sat in Blackrock Town's newly established command center, watching the movements of Boulder City's main force through a large screen. This time Boulder City dispatched 2,000 elite troops. In addition to that, there were still 5,000 auxiliary troops carrying a large amount of supplies along the way, stretching for several li. It was very spectacular. In order to be able to capture Blackrock Town, Boulder City mobilized a lot of heavy siege weapons, in order to deal a fatal blow and seize back Blackrock Town, this important town. Among the 2,000 elite troops, there were also 50 heavy knights wearing knights' heavy armor. Those 50 heavy knights besieged. Even a level 3 apprentice warlock could be killed. In the heavily guarded center of the army, next to an officer there were more than a dozen young men and women wearing a gray pow. Their cuffs were embroidered with copper wires. They were apprentice warlocks from Black Cottage.
These are apprentice warlocks? Let me see what skills you have. Yang Feng directly put on the consciousness transmission helmet.
The next moment, within a barracks, a liquid metal robot at once opened its eyes. Its eyes flashed with a red light. Its body twisted and changed into Zhao Zhong's appearance. Yang Feng stepped out of the barracks. He saw that the barracks was already filled with level 4 bladed troops, level 4 gunner troops and level 4 artillery troops. The densely packed number of level 4 robots already exceeded 3,000. Moreover, during this time, Autumn Leaf Town and Blackrock Town were transformed into 2 huge munitions factories by Yang Feng. As long as there is enough iron ore, even more than 1,000 level 4 robots can be manufactured in a day. This terrifying force can easily destroy Boulder City. If not for having misgivings about the warlock group of Black Cottage behind Boulder City, Yang Feng would have already dispatched his army and attacked Boulder City.
Set out.
Following Yang Feng's order, the figures of the 3,000 level 4 battle robots immediately flashed, closely following behind him, swiftly rushing towards the direction from which Giant Stone City's army had come. Different from humans, the 3,000 robots can move at a maximum speed of 150 km per hour. Moreover, as long as there is enough energy, they can maintain this speed at all times. This is the disparity between robots and humans. Blackrock Town's surrounding roads are not smooth, limiting the robots' movement speed, but the bladed troops can still maintain a terrifying movement speed of 80 km per hour. Half an hour later, Yang Feng led the 3,000 robots to a hillside 40 km north of Blackrock Town and set up an ambush.
Chapter 12.
Yang Feng thought for a moment, made the artillery troops and gunner troops hide, then directly placed the 400 bladed troops on the main road.
If it wasn't necessary, Yang Feng didn't intend to dispatch the artillery troops and gunner troops. In Tyrandot subcontinent, warlocks possess supernatural and mysterious formidable powers. Black Cottage Warlock Group is already a leviathan in Fernando Principality, but there are also a lot of warlock groups that are more formidable than Black Cottage Warlock Group. With one more trump card, in the future when facing other warlock groups, it would have an unexpected effect. Approximately 10 minutes later, a team of mounted scouts appeared on the main road. After the team of scouts saw the 400 bladed troops standing neatly in the middle of the main road, they quickly turned around and galloped towards the rear. Giant Stone City's commander Luke somewhat didn't dare to believe his ears. He asked the scout, "What, you're saying that Blackrock Town's bandits are neatly lined up in the middle of the main road?" Giant Stone City's elites were all dispatched. There were also 50 heavy armored knights and more than 10 apprentice warlocks. With such a powerful force, even if a bandit group of more than 10,000 people attacked, Luke was confident that he would be able to defeat them. In his imagination, Blackrock Town's bandits defending the town was the most troublesome matter. Those bandits unexpectedly came out to fight. Moreover, they even openly stood in the middle of the main road. It was simply extremely stupid. He very much suspected whether or not these scouts were mistaken. That scout captain quickly said, "Yes, Commander Darren. If you don't believe me, you can ask my brothers." Luke slightly creased his eyebrows and sank into contemplation. Relying on his many years of battle intuition, he vaguely felt that something was wrong. That nearly 2 m tall man resembling a bear, Rooney disdainfully smiled and said, "Luke, he's just an idiot who luckily obtained a warlock's inheritance, that's all. With us here, he won't be able to stir up any waves. From time to time, this kind of idiot will pop up. Just like weeds, no matter how you kill them, you can't kill them all." Luke slightly nodded, waved his hand and issued an order. "Continue forward." Giant Stone City's army then continued to advance. Soon they saw the 400 neat and tidy bladed troops standing in the middle of the main road. Luke slightly creased his eyebrows when he saw the 400 neat and tidy bladed troops. Such a well-disciplined army was the most troublesome opponent.
Giant stone heavy cavalry. Charge! Luke ordered. The heavy cavalry's charge would tear apart the opponent's line of defense. After cutting the opponent apart, the infantryman's ambush was the most basic tactic. Once the infantry's line of defense was torn apart by the tank-like heavy armored knights, they would be slaughtered. The 50 men and horses were all covered with a layer of heavy armor, holding 3-meter-long steel spears in their hands. Like 50 human-shaped tanks, they spurred their horses forward and gradually accelerated. In a neat formation, they charged towards the 400 bladed troops. The 50 heavy knights were wearing heavy armor that weighed more than 100 kilograms. The horses they were riding on were not ordinary horses, but black demonic wildebeests that had a trace of demonic bloodline. Black demon-like black demon-blooded knight carrying heavy knights. Half carrying 200 heavy cavalry. The heavy cavalry. On the battlefield, the armored cavalry, and said half to said heavy cavalry, powerful cavalry and guards that knights. Lee cavalry. At the same time, they were extremely difficult to support. Giant Stone City only had 100 heavy cavalry. 50 heavy knights could easily defeat an elite troop of 1,000 men. Facing the 50 heavy cavalry, the 400 bladed troops also directly charged towards the 50 heavy cavalry. Are they crazy? Seeing the 400 bladed troops charge towards the 50 heavy cavalry, Giant Stone City's people's eyes flashed with a whiff of incredulity. Even an Earth Knight wouldn't dare to face a heavy cavalry's charge head-on. Under everyone's incredulous gazes, the two armies fiercely collided together. The 50 heavy cavalry smiled malevolently. Their 3-m-long heavy cavalry penetrated the steel bodies of the bladed troops. The next moment, the heavy cavalry's smiling faces directly froze. Almost none of the bladed troops that had their bodies penetrated died. Without any expression, they brandished their long alloy blades and fiercely chopped at the heavy cavalry's bodies. The heavy cavalry's armors were directly split open by the level 4 bladed troops. They were directly cut open along with their horses, blood splashing everywhere. In less than a minute, the 50 Giant Stone City's heavy cavalry were completely beheaded by the level 4 bladed troops. No one survived. Seeing the 50 Giant Stone City's heavy cavalry being easily chopped into pieces by the level 4 bladed troops, Giant Stone City's warriors' bodies turned ice cold. Some recruits' legs even trembled, their complexions pale. Luke's complexion was pale, looking at the 400 bladed troops. His eyes flashed with a whiff of fear. The somewhat thin and refined-looking James stared at the various metal wires exposed by the pierced chests of the level 4 bladed troops. His complexion abruptly changed greatly as he shouted, "Golem! These aren't humans, they're golem. Fuck! There are actually 400 golem. Fuck! This isn't something we can resist. Retreat!" Golem is a weapon refined by warlock alchemists. Every golem's battle prowess is comparable to that of a human knight rank expert. Moreover, they are even more valiant and fearless than human knights. They are difficult to deal with. One-on-one, as a level 3 apprentice warlock, Jamie could easily kill a golem. But 400 golems could easily chop an apprentice warlock like Jamie into countless pieces. James's words just fell, he waved his hand, a black radiance flashed. A 3-m-long giant black locust with reins appeared in front of him. He flipped his body and directly jumped onto the giant black locust's body. The giant black locust forcefully jumped more than a dozen meters away. With a terrifying speed of more than 120 kilometers per hour, it directly fled with James towards a distant place. After James decisively fled, the rest of Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks also released the giant black locust, flipped over and mounted it, before fleeing towards a distant place. As long as you advance to become an apprentice warlock, no matter where you go in Tyrandot subcontinent, you will be solicited by aristocrats, and live a comfortable and wealthy life. When those apprentice warlocks saw that the situation was anything but reassuring, they naturally wouldn't risk their lives for Giant Stone City. Seeing the apprentice warlocks flee, the 5,000 auxiliary troops in the rear also directly collapsed, before fleeing in all directions. A bunch of incompetent fools. Commander Locke cursed in a low voice. He saw the 400 bladed troops covered in bloodstains, expressionless, without any murderous aura, yet it made people feel incomparably cold as they rushed towards this side. Chapter 13. Locke still hadn't decided whether to fight or flee, when the 400 humanoid bladed troops directly rushed into the midst of Giant Stone City's warriors, brandishing the alloy blades in their hands, as if 400 humanoid meat grinders, set off a storm of flesh and blood among Giant Stone City's warriors. Bastards, go to hell! A Giant Stone City's advanced warrior with outstanding martial skills bellowed and ferociously chopped at the shoulder of a bladed troop. Ding! That sword merely left a shallow wound on the bladed troop's shoulder. No! That advanced warrior's eyes flashed with a whiff of despair and he issued a heart-wrenching roar. The next moment, that bladed troop casually chopped at the advanced warrior's body. One strike split the advanced warrior into two halves, blood sputtering all over the bladed troop's body. After that bladed troop beheaded the advanced warrior, it didn't cheer, it didn't roar, it mechanically stepped over the advanced warrior's corpse and continued to massacre Giant Stone City's warriors. Silent, callous, fearless, mechanical. That's the fighting style of mechanical warriors. Mechanical warriors are the ideal army that all leaders desire the most. They won't disobey orders, they won't be demoralized. Even if they fight to the last soldier, they absolutely won't retreat. As for human armies, even if it's the most elite army, once the casualty rate reaches 30%, they will directly collapse. The battle didn't last long. Giant Stone City's 2,000 elite warriors suffered disastrous casualties, as if an avalanche collapsed in all directions. Let's go! Locke clenched his teeth, turned around and took his trusted subordinates to flee towards Giant Stone City. Drop your weapons, kneel on the ground and surrender, we won't kill you. Drop your weapons, kneel on the ground and surrender, we won't kill you. Seeing that Giant Stone City's warriors directly collapsed, Yang Feng gave an order. The 400 bladed troops then used their ice-cold metal-synthesized voice to shout. Giant Stone City's remaining warriors, as if hearing the voice of heaven, dropped their weapons, kneeled on the ground and directly surrendered to Yang Feng. Really easy. In the end, flesh and blood isn't a match for steel. The only regret is that I didn't see the means of an apprentice warlock. Yang Feng walked on the battlefield full of flesh and severed limbs. He looked at the captives kneeling on the ground, his eyebrows slightly creased and then relaxed. Tyrannid subcontinent is a very cruel place compared to Earth. Basically, all countries had a large number of slaves. If Yang Feng failed, then he would be reduced to a slave, unable to live or die. From the moment he attacked Black Rock Town, he had no choice but to advance. If he took a step back, he would fall into hell. Then, let me see Giant Stone City's ability. Yang Feng arranged for 50 bladed troops to escort more than 1,000 captives to Black Rock Town, while he himself led more than 3,000 battle robots to quickly move towards Giant Stone City. After marching at full speed for half an hour, Giant Stone City's huge city wall appeared before Yang Feng's eyes. That's Boulder City. Black Rock Town is indeed incomparable to it. Giant Stone City was extremely majestic. The city walls were 25 meters high, and were made of large white rock, second only to iron rock. The 25-meter-tall city wall could prevent most experts and powerful creatures from jumping onto the city wall. Among Knight-level powerhouses, only Sky Knight powerhouses could jump onto the city wall, which was 25 m high. Due to Yang Feng's troops advancing too quickly, the defeated soldiers still hadn't escaped back to Giant Stone City, when his mechanical legion had already arrived in front of Giant Stone City. Giant Stone City's city gates still hadn't been closed. Kill! Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of a cold glint. He pointed towards Giant Stone City and ordered. The 400 bladed troops immediately launched at full speed, rushing towards Giant Stone City with a terrifying speed of 150 kilometers per hour. Who are you? Quickly stop! The warrior collecting taxes in front of the city gate saw the 400 bladed troops. His heart surged with a trace of an ominous premonition and shouted loudly. The bladed troops didn't pay the slightest bit of attention to the warrior's roars, and within a few seconds they arrived in front of the city gate. With a flash of a blade, the warrior at the city gate was directly beheaded, and fell to the ground. Enemy attack! Enemy! Fuck! Who the hell are they? Prepare for battle! Suddenly, a loud and clear alarm sounded in Giant Stone City. An army stationed at the city gate quickly appeared in the vicinity of the city gate, and directly charged towards the bladed troops. The bladed troops immediately launched a counterattack, and rushed towards the army. The two armies fiercely collided together. In a split second, flesh and blood splattered. The Giant Stone City's human army was directly harvested like wheat by the bladed troops. It didn't even last for a minute before they directly collapsed and fled in all directions.
Giant Stone City's most formidable army, the heavy armored cavalry, wasn't a match for the bladed troops. It was even more impossible for the other human armies to be a match for this terrifying mechanical army. After defeating Giant Stone City's city guards' counterattacks several times, Giant Stone City's city guard system completely collapsed. After leaving 50 bladed troops to control the city gate, Yang Feng commanded the 350 bladed troops to directly rush towards the city lord's mansion. After Yang Feng seized the city gate, the entire Giant Stone City sank into chaos. Along the way, all the enemies that Yang Feng encountered were directly beheaded by the 350 bladed troops. A lot of bandits that took advantage of the opportunity to burn, kill, and loot were also directly beheaded by the bladed troops he dispatched. The city lord's mansion was located in the center of Giant Stone City. It was a huge castle that was twice as large as Blackrock Castle. The castle's city wall was up to 15 m high. On top of the city wall stood Viscount Harley's elite private troops. The city lord's mansion was incomparably spacious within 600 m, without any trees or buildings. The 350 bladed troops rushed out from the street. 6 up to 7 m long giant crossbow bolts were shot from Giant Stone Castle. 3 giant crossbow bolts at once hit 3 bladed troops, directly smashing their bodies into pieces and causing them to fall to the ground, unable to budge. The rest of the bladed troops weren't the slightest bit scared by the giant crossbow bolts, expressionlessly rushed towards Giant Stone Castle. When the bladed troops approached Giant Stone Castle's city wall, 200 archers appeared above the city wall. A dense rain of arrows fell from the sky, shooting towards the bladed troops. The bladed troops casually brushed aside the arrows that were shot at them. Some arrows that were lucky enough to hit their bodies were also directly ricocheted away. Only 2 knight rank archers, relying on their terrifying life force, shot 2 arrows into the hearts of 2 bladed troops. But the bladed troops' vital points weren't at their hearts. The 2 bladed troops that were shot had 2 arrows stuck in their hearts, expressionlessly rushing towards Giant Stone City's city wall. Chapter 14. 6 apprentice warlocks wearing a grey pow finally appeared above the city wall. These 6 apprentice warlocks are the wandering apprentice warlocks that Viscount Harley had racked his brains to recruit. In Tyrandot subcontinent, warlocks control endless power and wealth. Official warlocks will be recruited by some formidable warlock groups. Very few official warlocks will be recruited by aristocrats. Only the greater aristocrats of those formidable empires might be able to recruit an official warlock. Grease. An apprentice warlock pointed at a bladed troop and cast a level 0 spell. The bladed troop slipped and fell to the ground. Several heavy alchemy heavy crossbows locked onto the bladed troop. 3 terrifying heavy crossbows instantly shot at the bladed troop, blasting it into countless metal fragments. Arcane projectiles. An apprentice warlock pointed at another bladed troop. An arcane projectile, as if a bullet, flew towards the bladed troop. The arcane projectile at once hit the bladed troop's chest, forcing it to retreat by a few steps. Its chest slightly caved in. Only the bladed troop's body swayed. It continued to charge forward without being affected. The level 0 spell arcane projectile can heavily injure a knight rank expert, but it doesn't cause much harm to robots like the bladed troops. Instead, the knight rank expert's chop is more of a threat to the bladed troops. Acid sputtering. An apprentice warlock pointed. An acid was directly sprayed on a bladed troop's body. As if a basin of concentrated sulfuric acid was fiercely poured on it, the bladed troop's body emitted bursts of white mist. It was corroded by the acid into potholes. If an ordinary human was splashed by the acid, their upper body would be corroded, they would struggle in pain and be powerless to fight. But the bladed troop didn't have the slightest reaction. It still continued to charge. Acid sputtering. Acid sputtering. Acid sputtering. After 4 consecutive acid sputters were sprayed on the bladed troop's body, the bladed troop's head was completely corroded. It fell to the ground and was powerless to budge. The 6 apprentice warlocks were really too few in number, even though they joined forces to knock down 7 bladed troops, but the bladed troop still rushed towards the castle. A bladed troop arrived below the castle, immediately sheathed its alloy katana on its back and raised its hands high. Another bladed troop jumped onto its 2 palms, and then raised its hands high. One by one, the bladed troops repeated this action, quickly forming 6 human ladders. Bladed troops nimbly jumped from the 6 human ladders towards the castle. Arcane missile. The 6 apprentice warlocks could only cast this level 0 spell, relying on the formidable repelling force of the arcane missiles. They shot down the bladed troop from mid-air.
However, the mechanical bladed troops' agility was too abnormal.
After the first wave of bladed troops were repelled, the second wave of bladed troops immediately jumped onto the city wall, brandishing the alloy blades in their hands towards the giant stone castle's warriors above the city wall.
Go to hell!
A knight dressed from head to toe in a knight's heavy armor and holding a great sword gave a furious roar. He erupted with formidable life force. He launched a sneak attack from the side. His sword chopped at the head of a bladed troop, directly beheading its head. The knight dressed in a knight's heavy armor didn't even have time to gasp for breath. 6 bladed troops immediately pounced at him. 12 huge alloy blades fiercely chopped at him from 6 different directions. The knight's martial skill was tyrannical, but he was only able to block 2 alloy blades, before being directly chopped into pieces by the rest of the alloy blades. There were altogether 13 knight rank experts above the city wall, under the siege of a large number of bladed troops. The 13 knight rank experts were very quickly chopped into pieces. Even with the assistance of the apprentice warlocks, the knight rank experts still couldn't block the bladed troops that traded death for death. After the 13 knight rank experts were killed, the morale of the warriors above the city wall completely collapsed. They fled in all directions, kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. The 6 apprentice warlocks didn't have time to escape. They were directly surrounded by the bladed troops and chopped into pieces, only leaving their heads intact. Everyone drop your weapons, kneel on the ground and surrender. You'll be spared from death. Following Yang Feng's order, the bladed troops immediately shouted as they beheaded the routed soldiers. The majority of the warriors in Giant Stone City's castle were Viscount Harley's private troops. Regardless of battle prowess or loyalty, they were by far higher than those of Giant Stone City's ordinary troops. Only a portion of them chose to surrender. The rest of the routed soldiers that didn't surrender were directly beheaded by the bladed troops. Viscount Harley was merely a knight rank expert. Under the siege of 7 bladed troops, he was very quickly beheaded. The entire Giant Stone Castle fell into Yang Feng's hands. Giant Stone City's 4 great clans took advantage of the opportunity when Yang Feng led his troops to attack Giant Stone Castle to seize the opportunity to break through the siege and leave Giant Stone City. Within Giant Stone City, a large number of aristocrats also carried large amounts of gold, silver, and other valuables and fled outside Giant Stone City. After capturing Giant Stone City, Yang Feng's losses amounted to less than 20 bladed troops. After Yang Feng captured Giant Stone City, he directly dispatched bladed troops to attack the villages and towns attached to Giant Stone City. Those villages and towns attached to Giant Stone City were easily captured by Yang Feng's mechanical legion. The lords that ruled those villages and towns were also directly eradicated by Yang Feng. A large amount of land was under Yang Feng's control. In those towns, a large number of engineering robots were dispatched to construct solar energy-absorbing umbrellas and munitions factories. After Giant Stone City's sphere of influence was under Yang Feng's control, the land under his control was more than 100 times larger than in the past. Giant Stone City's surroundings were rich in mineral resources. As long as the basic facilities were completed, the amount of battle robots that he could manufacture every day would be more than 50 times that of the past. Moreover, with the construction of a large amount of solar energy-absorbing umbrellas, Yang Feng no longer lacked energy. He could gradually eliminate level 4 battle robots and mass-produce level 6 and level 7 battle robots. Level 6 and level 7 battle robots were currently the strongest battle robots that Yang Feng could mass-produce. The reason why Yang Feng chose to mass-produce level 4 battle robots before, that was because at that time, he had sufficient steel and lacked energy. After taking control of Giant Stone City, the situation was reversed. He had sufficient energy and lacked steel. The next day after capturing Giant Stone City, Yang Feng led the already fully charged mechanical legion towards the direction of Black Cottage. According to the information from Viscount Harley's mind, Black Cottage's master was an old freak that had lived for more than 100 years. His connections were extremely extensive. Black Cottage, this warlock group, not only had friendly relations with the warlock group behind Fernando Principality, but they also had close ties with a number of warlock groups. Once Black Cottage mobilized its strength to search everywhere for assistance, Yang Feng's enemy might not only be Black Cottage's warlock group. The capture of Giant Stone City was within Yang Feng's expectations. Black Cottage was his real imaginary enemy. Why did we attack your black hut? Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a cold glint, and he said with a contemptuous smile,
If you want to find a reason, then there are many. The biggest reason is that your black cottage is blocking my way. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with an incomparably cold killing intent, he said in a cold voice. If you want to go further on the warlock path, then you need even more resources. I fancy Fernando Principality's resources. Bonnie, if you're sensible and serve me, then I'll give you a good position. Otherwise, you'll die here today. You'll be my first stepping stone on the warlock path. Warlocks were Tyrannid subcontinent's pinnacle supernatural beings. Every warlock possessed extraordinary strength. Moreover, what attracted Yang Feng the most was that, once he became an official level 1 warlock, his lifespan could be extended to 200 years. Level 2 warlocks could extend their lifespan to 300 years. Level 3 warlocks could extend it to 400 years. Once he advanced to a great warlock, his lifespan could even reach 1,000 years. Wanting to become a warlock was extremely difficult. First of all, one had to possess a cultivation aptitude. Generally speaking, the probability of a warlock's heirs possessing a warlock's cultivation aptitude was much higher than that of an ordinary person. In other words, the probability of an aristocrat possessing a warlock's cultivation aptitude was higher. Apart from this, carrying out a warlock's cultivation aptitude, one needed to learn a variety of knowledge. Each knowledge was of considerable value. Ordinary commoners, unless their cultivation aptitude was heaven-defying and they were lucky enough to be discovered, only then would they be able to tread on the warlock path. Yang Feng, as an earthling's waste, didn't hold any hope for his cultivation aptitude. However, congenital deficiencies could be made up for later. Cultivation aptitude was insufficient. Only a huge amount of resources could be used to make up for it. With the support of the entire Fernando Principality's resources, it was possible for him to advance to become an official level 1 warlock. Bonnie said coldly, "You'll pay the price for your arrogance and stupidity." Yang Feng gave a cold smile and ordered, "Attack!" The 400-bladed troops suddenly moved and quickly swept towards Black City. Swamp Marshland. In the Warlock Pagoda in the center of Black City, Bonnie pointed towards that direction and cast a level 1 spell. The 60m tall Warlock Pagoda flashed with radiance. A formidable and mysterious fluctuation of power suddenly shrouded the area in front of Black City. In front of Black City appeared an enormous swamp with a length of 3 kilometers and a width of 100 m. Originally, the level 1 spell Swamp Marshland didn't have such a terrifying effect. It was basically impossible to instantly condense an enormous swamp with a length of 3 kilometers and a width of 100 m. However, under the support of the Warlock Pagoda's power, such a miracle could be formed. In Tyrannid subcontinent, there was a publicly acknowledged truth. If one didn't have the absolute power to cross 2 or more great ranks, then one shouldn't challenge a warlock inside a Warlock Pagoda. That would only be throwing away one's life in vain. Facing the swamp that suddenly appeared under their feet, the 400-bladed troops couldn't retract their momentum and fell into the enormous swamp. They were entangled in the swamp and slowly but firmly sank. The more the 400-bladed troops struggled, the faster they sank. Before long, they completely sank into the swamp. Seeing the 400-bladed troops sink into the swamp, the warriors above the city wall issued bursts of cheers. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement as he muttered, "Amazing! Truly amazing! This is the power of a warlock. Too formidable." For Yang Feng, who was determined to tread on the warlock path, the more formidable the warlock, the more interested he was. Chapter 16. After the huge swamp mud swallowed the 400 battle robots, the mysterious force immediately disappeared and the ground returned to normal. 10 m. Is this your limit? Bonnie, the golems under my command aren't just this little bit. Yang Feng gave a cold smile and waved his hand. The figures of the 100-bladed troops flashed and quickly arrived at the place where the 400-bladed troops had been swallowed. They took out huge bricks, stabbed them into the ground and began to dig and destroy the ground, wanting to dig out the 400-bladed troops underground. After all, Bonnie was only a level 1 warlock. Even with the help of the Warlock Pagoda's power, the level 1 spell Swamp Mud could only bury the battle robots approximately 10 m underground. If the opponent was a human, then being buried 10 m underground would definitely be a dead man. But as for the bladed troops, they were merely buried underground, unable to budge, but not destroyed. Attack! Above the city wall, an officer bellowed loudly. Huge catapults and heavy alchemical heavy crossbows appeared above the city wall. Heavy crossbow bolts up to 7 meters long and huge rocks weighing up to 2 tons bombarded the 100 bladed troops. A heavy crossbow bolt shot at the chest of a bladed troop, directly blasting its upper body into pieces and scattering countless parts. A huge stone weighing 1 ton fell from the sky and directly smashed a bladed troop's body, smashing it into a deformed bladed troop. Black City had the warlock group Black Cottage keeping watch. It was more than 100 times richer than Giant Stone City. Black City's various kinds of heavy weapons were also 10 times more than Giant Stone City's. Under the attacks of those various heavy weapons, the bladed troops were smashed and deformed. Yang Feng's expression didn't have any change as he watched those bladed troops being destroyed by those heavy weapons. Those level 4 bladed troops had the lowest level of technology. As long as their wreckage could be recovered, then only a little bit of energy would be needed to be smelted and then they could be quickly manufactured again. No matter how many bladed troops died, as long as the battle was won, the wreckage of the bladed troops could be recovered and new ones could be manufactured. It was equivalent to the bladed troops being able to be reborn without limit. It was precisely because of this that Yang Feng could be unbridled and use the bladed troops at will. No matter how many died, he wouldn't care. Fireball. After Black City's heavy weaponry carried out several blanket attacks, a large number of bladed troops were destroyed. Bonnie pointed his finger and cast the level 1 spell, Fireball. From the Warlock Pagoda, fireballs flew out like artillery shells and bombarded the remaining bladed troops, blasting them into smithereens. Seeing the bladed troops being blown to pieces, Black City's warriors above the city wall burst into cheers, their morale greatly boosted. Impressive indeed! A warlock coupled with a warlock pagoda was like a human-shaped self-propelled cannon with unlimited shells. Furthermore, it was a multifunctional human-shaped self-propelled cannon. Looks like I'll have to get serious. Yang Feng watched as the mechanical bladed troops were blown to pieces. He gave a slight smile and clapped his hands. Bladed troops slowly walked out from the jungle behind Yang Feng. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 30,000. A full 30,000 bladed troops walked out from behind Yang Feng, forming a densely packed mechanical legion that couldn't be seen at first glance. The complexions of the human warriors above Black City's city wall also changed along with the continuous appearance of the bladed troops. When they saw the 50,000 bladed troops divided into 5 legions appear before their eyes, their complexions paled and their eyes flashed with a whiff of despair. A human officer's complexion paled and his voice trembled somewhat. How is this possible? How can there be so many alchemical golems? A human officer's complexion paled and he muttered, Impossible. A knight-rank alchemical golem's price is at least 3,000 gold coins. So many alchemical golems, 90 million gold coins. How can a trifling apprentice warlock have so many alchemical golems? Don't tell me we're facing a great warlock-rank warlock alchemist? Bonnie saw the 30,000 bladed troops in midair. His eyeballs almost protruded out and he screamed somewhat forlornly. No! How can you have so many alchemical golems? Several hundred knight-rank alchemical golems, to the level 1 warlock Bonnie who was inside the warlock pagoda, was an existence that could be easily dealt with. But against 30,000 knight-rank alchemical golems, Bonnie didn't have the slightest bit of assurance. The 30,000 bladed troops formed 3 huge 10,000-man phalanxes, neat and uniform. The spacing and size were completely uniform, as if they were a single entity. Every mechanical legion was silent and ice-cold. Compared to the most elite human warriors, they were brimming with obedience and order. Just by standing there, they gave people a huge oppressive feeling. Yang Feng ordered coldly, Attack! The 3 bladed troops at once dispersed and rushed towards Black City from different directions. Swamp marshland. Bonnie's complexion suddenly changed greatly, and he quickly cast a spell to change the terrain. A formidable fluctuation of power erupted from the Warlock Pagoda, shrouding the area in front of Black City and forming a huge swamp. Bladed troops immediately jumped into the swamp, then raised their hands and slowly sank, forming a platform-like existence. The bladed troops in the rear stepped on the platform formed by the bladed troops in front and directly charged forward. The range of the level 1 spell Swamp Marshland released by Bonnie was extremely vast, but after all, he was only a level 1 warlock. The Swamp Marshland's range was vast, but its depth was relatively low, only 10 m. Only 5 bladed troops were needed to form a foothold platform in the swamp. Those bladed troops possessed formidable computing ability. They stepped on the foothold platform with incomparable precision, quickly leapt over the incomparably huge swamp and rushed below the city wall. Once those bladed troops arrived below the city wall, they quickly set up human ladders. Above the city wall, Black City's warriors continuously poured hot soup and boiling oil onto those bladed troops, yet without any effect. Barrels of city-guarding fire oil were also poured down. A torch fell into the oil, at once forming a huge sea of fire enveloping those bladed troops. Under the burning of that sea of fire, those bladed troops were still unmoved. Unless the temperature of the flames reached the point of melting them, otherwise, they would be as unshakable as steel. Chapter 17. Practically all the attacks had no effect on those bladed troops. Only some knight-rank experts lifted huge rocks and smashed more than a dozen bladed troops until they were deformed. But that was also Black City's human warriors' final resistance. After the 20 human ladders were set up, a large amount of bladed troops continuously poured in from above the 20 human ladders. Go to hell! Go to hell, all of you! You damned golems! A great knight, wielding a 2-meter-long greatsword and wearing a knight's heavy armor weighing more than 100 kilograms, roared angrily and rushed in front of a bladed troop. He brandished the 2-meter-long frightening greatsword and chopped at the bladed troop, forcibly chopping the bladed troop into two. That great knight was followed by 8 knights, forming a small arrow. He brandished his terrifying greatsword. Wherever the greatsword passed, those bladed troops would either be sent flying or chopped into two. The 8 knights beside that great knight protected his flanks and rear, so that he wouldn't be besieged and could display his strength to his heart's content. But that great knight's eruption was only like the setting sun at dusk. No matter how hard he fought, the number of bladed troops above the city wall was still increasing. Those mechanical bladed troops that didn't know fear, their faces were expressionless as they brandished their huge alloy blades and rushed into the midst of the ordinary warriors, setting off a storm of flesh and blood. Above the city wall, flesh and blood splattered everywhere, simultaneously accompanied by the screams of countless Black City's human warriors. One after another, the human armies were crushed by the mechanical bladed troops and directly fled in all directions. Before long, only 4 knight squads commanded by great knights remained above the city wall, still stubbornly resisting. The huge amount of bladed troops' main force advanced directly towards the Warlock Pagoda, only separating 1,000 bladed troops to surround the 4 knight squads. Surrender! Surrender to me and you'll still have a way to live, otherwise die. A bladed troop said to the 4 knight squads with an ice-cold mechanical synthesized voice. Knight-rank experts were very rare in the human world. Practically 1 in 1,000 ordinary people might give birth to a knight-rank expert. The 4 knight squads were Black City's elite. If they surrendered, then Yang Feng's future walk into Randit City's human society would be very convenient. Hey, you freak! Go eat shit! A tall and sturdy great knight Bennett with a great sword in his hand. His eyes flashed with a touch of arrogance, and he spat towards the bladed troop. The bladed troop coldly ordered, "This team, kill them all!" The figures of the 200 bladed troops simultaneously moved, directly pouncing towards Bennett and his 7 subordinates from all directions. Follow me! Bennett roared angrily, brandishing the great sword in his hand. He rushed towards the bladed troops. Ah! Save me! Almost at the same time, Bennett heard miserable cries for help. He looked back, only to see that the comrades who had been following him had already been chopped into countless pieces by the unending stream of bladed troops. In just less than 5 breaths of time, Bennett's 7 team members were completely beheaded by those bladed troops. The 7 team members desperately attacked and destroyed 5 bladed troops. No! You bastards! Bennett's eyes were bloodshot. He issued a heart-wrenching roar. He brandished his great sword and chopped at the waist of a bladed troop, instantly chopping it into 2. 12 alloy blades chopped at Bennett from 6 directions. After losing the cover of his teammates, he barely managed to block 4 alloy blades, before he was chopped into countless pieces. When the remaining 3 knight squads saw this scene, a chill welled up in their hearts. Bennett was Black City's strongest great knight. Such an expert was easily killed by the bladed troops. Even if they stubbornly resisted, they wouldn't be able to survive, only death would await them. I surrender. A tall and sturdy middle-aged man with a full beard, John looked at the knights behind him, gave a long sigh, and threw away the great sword in his hand. John's team members secretly heaved a slight sigh of relief in their hearts, and threw away the great sword in their hands. After John surrendered, the other 2 knight squad's experts also chose to surrender.
The enormous mechanical legion advanced all the way, crushing all the weak resistance within Black City, and very quickly arrived in front of the Warlock Pagoda.
Acid sputtering. Dark rays. Arcane projectiles.
When the mechanical legion arrived within a range of 200 meters of Black City, more than 100 level 0 spells at once bombarded the bladed troops, killing several dozen of them. On the second floor of the Warlock Pagoda, Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks filled the place, numbering close to 100 people. These more than 100 apprentice warlocks were Black Cottage's backbone. Warlock Pagoda had the effect of strengthening spells. The more than 100 apprentice warlocks inside the Warlock Pagoda could display battle prowess comparable to that of several level 1 warlocks. After several dozen bladed troops were killed, the remaining enormous mechanical legion wasn't affected in the slightest, and still rushed towards the Warlock Pagoda. At this moment, the Warlock Pagoda's door opened. 2 7m tall steel golems holding 2 6m long terrifying greatswords walked out of the Warlock Pagoda in large strides. The 2 steel golems appeared, their ruby-composed eyes flickered with a red light, and they brandished the greatswords in their hands, fiercely chopping at the bladed troops. A bladed troop raised the alloy blade in its hands to block in front of it. The steel golem's greatswords heavily chopped at the bladed troop's alloy blade, forcibly chopping the bladed troop together with the alloy blade into pieces.
Tremendous strength. Agility.
The 2 steel golems tenaciously guarded the Warlock Pagoda's entrance, madly killing those bladed troops. Above the Warlock Pagoda, more than 100 apprentice warlocks continuously cast some level 0 spells, strengthening the steel golem's battle prowess. The steel golems were battle weapons refined by genuine warlock alchemists by spending countless painstaking efforts and precious materials. Not only were their battle prowess comparable to that of a Sky Knight, but they were also capable of withstanding a variety of enchantments. They were incomparably formidable. Once the 2 steel golems were launched, they could even defeat a mortal's army of 1,000 people.
Chapter 18.
A bladed troop arrived in front of the Warlock Pagoda, extended its hand towards the Warlock Pagoda. From its finger extended a tiny suction cup, firmly sucking on the Warlock Pagoda. Then, with its hands alternating, it very nimbly climbed along the smooth wall of the Warlock Pagoda. The 2 steel golems pinned down a lot of bladed troops. A large number of bladed troops, however, directly climbed towards the top of the Warlock Pagoda from other directions. The densely packed bladed troops were akin to ants climbing towards the top of the Warlock Pagoda. It was extremely terrifying. Within the Warlock Pagoda, a lot of apprentice warlocks had pale complexions when they saw this scene. Their eyes flashed with a whiff of fear. Those apprentice warlocks had also gone out to gain experience and had defeated a lot of enemies. However, they had never seen such a huge number of monsters like the bladed troops. No matter how many bladed troops they cast spells to knock down, there would be even more bladed troops filling the place. That feeling of being killed without end, it would make people despair.
Arcane projectiles. Acid sputtering. Dark rays.
On the second floor of the Warlock Pagoda, there were 4 windows. The apprentice warlocks at the 4 windows couldn't bear the enormous pressure. They successively cast spells to bombard the bladed troops, knocking them down one by one. After the bladed troops directly fell to the ground, as long as their core chips weren't destroyed, they would once again climb up and quickly climb towards the Warlock Pagoda's windows. Having lost the support of the apprentice warlocks, the 2 steel golems were at once besieged by several hundred bladed troops, exchanging lives for injuries. After only supporting for a dozen rounds, the 2 steel golems were dismembered by the several hundred bladed troops, and fell to the ground. However, before they fell to the ground, they also destroyed more than 150 bladed troops. The 2 steel golems fell to the ground. Then the densely packed bladed troops rushed in front of the Warlock Pagoda. Some bladed troops put away their alloy blades, extended 2 drills from their hands, and fiercely stabbed at the Warlock Pagoda's gate, madly spinning, and drilling holes in the Warlock Pagoda's gate. Some bladed troops brandished the alloy blades in their hands and fiercely chopped at the Warlock Pagoda's gate, chopping out shallow scars one after another. Xiaofan looked from afar at the scene of the bladed troops besieging the Warlock Pagoda. A trace of doubt welled up within him. Bonnie, this official level 1 warlock, had yet to make a move. It was unknown what he was thinking. If he were to act, he might be able to destroy hundreds of bladed troops. As far as Xiaofan was concerned, even if several thousand bladed troops were destroyed, as long as he could win, it wasn't a price to pay. After being melted down in the munitions factory, those bladed troops can be reborn again.
Unless the enemy is very clever and takes away the wreckage of the mechanical bladed troops, only then would it be considered as truly killing a bladed troop. Fireball. Suddenly, the Warlock Pagoda shone brightly and 10 huge fireballs, almost forming a line, shot towards Yang Feng. The bladed troops beside Yang Feng jumped up one after another and collided with the fireball. Boom! 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 Huge explosions sounded one after another, and the bladed troops were directly blown to pieces by the huge fireballs. Yang Feng said with a cold smile, "Operation Decapitation? It was indeed a good idea. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to kill me." "Is that so? Steel Lord Yang Yi, go to hell for me." Amidst the huge explosions, a cold and tyrannical voice was transmitted. A huge black fog suddenly gushed out, and in a flash, Yang Feng as well as the 800 bladed troops surrounding him were shrouded within it. The 800 bladed troops beside Yang Feng also simultaneously launched a self-detonation. The terrifying explosion in a split second completely engulfed Bonnie as well as everything in the surroundings. The earth shook, a berserk shock wave spread in all directions, setting off a terrifying cloud of dust. The cloud of dust from the explosion had yet to completely disperse, when the 200 bladed troops quickly rushed out from the side and rushed into the cloud of dust. Shortly after, the 200 bladed troops carried the extremely battered Bonnie out from the explosion. Chapter 19. Yang Feng walked out from the side, looked at Bonnie and exclaimed in admiration, "Amazing, you still haven't died. The vitality of a demon's body is indeed strong." At this time, Bonnie's entire body was covered in wounds. His eyes were closed, and he was bleeding profusely. However, his chest was still moving up and down. Clearly, he wasn't dead yet. Some of the small wounds on his body had already begun to heal. Unlike humans, demons were monsters with powerful vitality. Their physical bodies were extremely powerful, and their recovery speed was also extremely terrifying. Some great demons with noble bloodlines could even slowly recover and grow a new body if they only had one heart left. I am currently unable to subdue a level 1 warlock. Kill him and leave his head behind. Under Yang Feng's order, a bladed troop stepped forward and directly beheaded Bonnie. Beheaded, Bonnie, the incomparably formidable level 1 warlock of the Black Cottage, fell at Yang Feng's hands. Yang Feng looked at the demon warlock Bonnie's corpse and felt some dread in his heart. Warlock's methods are really strange and formidable. If my main body was here, I would have already died once. My main body is still too weak. The Mechanical Legion under Yang Feng's control was extremely formidable. It could even besiege and kill official level 1 warlocks. The Mechanical Legion's only weakness was Yang Feng's true body. Once Yang Feng's true body died, the entire Mechanical Legion would collapse. It was for this reason that Yang Feng didn't dare to appear on the battlefield with his true body. Fortunately, he was cautious enough. Otherwise he would have died. Bonnie is already dead. Are you still going to put up a desperate struggle? A bladed troop carrying Bonnie's severed head arrived before the Warlock Pagoda and shouted towards the apprentice warlocks inside the Warlock Pagoda. "Teacher! Instructor!" The complexions of the apprentice warlocks above the Warlock Pagoda suddenly changed greatly. Their morale at once plummeted to the extreme. A male apprentice warlock waved his hand and released an enormous white swan. He jumped on the back of the enormous swan and rode the enormous swan towards the sky. Yang Feng took a look at the huge swan. He didn't let the gunner troops lying in ambush in the surroundings shoot the huge swan. In Black Cottage, the only one worthy of Yang Feng's attention was the level 1 warlock Bonnie. The rest of the apprentice warlocks were simply not in his eyes. If they escaped, then they escaped. Summoned life forms capable of flight at the apprentice warlock rank were very rare. Within the entire Warlock Pagoda, there was only one apprentice warlock who possessed it. After the rest of the apprentice warlocks saw Bonnie's severed head, their morale dropped and most of them chose to surrender. Only a few apprentice warlocks resisted, before being chopped into pieces by the bladed troops. The fall of the Warlock Pagoda signified that the entire Black City had fallen into Yang Feng's hands. He immediately sent his mechanical army to various parts of Black City to maintain order and kill all the thugs who took advantage of the situation. After killing 100 or 200 thugs, Black City restored its order and was barely under Yang Feng's control. Once Black City fell into Yang Feng's hands, He mobilized a large number of engineering robots to Black City and began construction. To build Black City into a steel fortress. Black City was located in the central region of Fernando Principality. As long as one controlled Black City, they could easily control Giant Stone City, Woodcliff City, Qingshan City, and Haiyan City, these 4 major cities. Once Black City was transformed into a steel fortress by Yang Feng, then when Fernando Principality came to attack, even if they paid the price of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, they still might not be able to capture it. People with level 2 spirit aptitude were slightly better. As long as they studied hard, they still had the possibility of becoming a level 1 apprentice warlock. It was still extremely difficult for such people to join warlock groups. People with level 3 spirit aptitude were slightly better. As long as they worked hard, they still had the possibility of becoming a level 3 apprentice warlock. A lot of odd job workers in warlock groups were such people. People with level 4 spirit aptitude. Their aptitude to practice cultivation as a warlock was ordinary. If they worked hard, then they had a little hope of promoting to a level 1 warlock. People with level 5 spirit aptitude belonged to the outstanding category. If they worked hard and their luck wasn't bad, then they had a greater hope of becoming an official level 1 warlock. People with level 6 spirit aptitude belonged to the genius category. As long as they had a good cultivation method and sufficient resources, then they could easily promote to a level 1 warlock. People with level 7 spirit aptitude belonged to the super genius category. As long as they had a good cultivation method, even if they had a slight lack of resources, then they could promote to a level 1 warlock. People with level 8 spirit aptitude belonged to the freaks, monstrous geniuses. As long as they had a cultivation method, then becoming a level 1 warlock was nothing. Even if they lacked resources, then they wouldn't encounter any difficulties in practicing cultivation until level 3 warlock. People with level 9 spirit aptitude were legendary figures. As long as they had a cultivation method and opportunities, as long as they didn't fall into the enemy's hands, then each and every one of them would leave their name in history as a terrifying bigwig. The majority of official warlocks in Tyrandot subcontinent had level 4, level 5 or level 6 spirit aptitude. Warlocks with level 6 and above spirit aptitude were extremely rare. Bonnie himself was only a warlock with a level 5 spirit aptitude. Chapter 20. Robot Bonnie said respectfully, "Yes, owner." Soon, a transparent and colorless crystal ball with a white crystal sealed in its center was brought in by a bladed troop. Bonnie said, "Please place your hand on this crystal ball. This crystal ball will test your spirit aptitude." Yang Feng placed his hand on top of that crystal ball and lightly pressed. That crystal ball flickered with a faint white light. Robot Bonnie said, "Owner, your cultivation spirit aptitude is inferior level 1. According to Bonnie's memories in my microchip, with your spirit aptitude, unless you transplanted with a formidable life form's blood meridians or take a large amount of the most precious elixirs capable of strengthening a cultivator's spirit aptitude, otherwise, it would be very difficult for you to become an official level 1 warlock in your lifetime." So useless. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth twitched. He already expected that his cultivation aptitude wouldn't be too good, but he didn't think that it would be that bad. Inferior level 1 cultivation aptitude was at the bottom of Tyrandot subcontinent. Even a random farmer might have a slightly better cultivation aptitude than Yang Feng. Yang Feng said, "Can you concoct a soul aptitude strengthening elixir?" Bonnie isn't a pharmacist. Although he has a rough understanding of pharmaceutics, but he can only concoct basic elixirs. He doesn't have the ability to concoct soul aptitude strengthening elixirs. I, who inherited his memories, can only concoct basic elixirs. I'm unable to concoct level 1 elixirs. Moreover, soul aptitude strengthening elixir formulas are in the hands of great powers. Bonnie's memories don't contain such elixir formulas. Yang Feng asked somewhat expectantly, "I want to become a warlock, how should I choose the best path?" Bonnie was an official level 1 warlock. He had already lived in Tyrandot subcontinent for more than 100 years. His knowledge by far surpassed that of Yang Feng. With such an official level 1 warlock by his side, he was like a miniature cultivation encyclopedia. He could avoid a lot of detours. An official warlock's knowledge by far surpassed that of an apprentice warlock. It could be said that the gap between an official warlock and an apprentice warlock was like a moat. Warlock College Antalya, White Elephant's Ivory, Eyes of Justice, Rose Garden, Savage Claw and Black Dragon Pagoda. These are Tyrannid subcontinent's 6 most powerful warlock groups, as well as warlock groups with the most complete warlock inheritances. Among them, Warlock College Antalya has the most comprehensive foundation and is the most open-minded. Master, only by joining Warlock College Antalya will you have the opportunity to obtain a formidable warlock inheritance. Yang Feng creased his eyebrows slightly and said, "Can't you teach me?" Black Cottage possesses warlock inheritances that can be practiced up to level 3 warlock. But that requires a superior level 6 spirit aptitude as well as an incomparably large amount of cultivation resources. Only then would there be a chance of practicing cultivation until level 3 warlock. With your inferior level 1 spirit aptitude, if you practice Black Cottage's warlock inheritance, then without any mishaps, there's practically no hope of promoting to a level 1 warlock. Yang Feng creased his eyebrows, lightly tapped the table with his index finger and sank into contemplation. Warlock College Antalya. Fernandro Principality's backer, Fernandro clan and Warlock College Antalya were on friendly terms. Now that Yang Feng had greatly offended Fernandro clan, if he wanted to join Warlock College Antalya, it might be somewhat troublesome. Robot Bonnie replied, "Master, Bonnie has a treasure that was obtained from a forbidden stone. That treasure will be of great help to your warlock path." Yang Feng asked curiously, "Taboo stone?" Robot Bonnie explained, "Taboo stone is a sealing stone created by the Second Warlock Dynasty's warlock alchemists. Reportedly, it can seal any existence. The Second Warlock Dynasty used a large number of humans, fiends, devils, gods, giants, dragons and other formidable life forms from various planes to carry out all kinds of taboo experiments, creating countless terrifying freaks as well as formidable secret treasures. On the eve of the destruction of the Second Warlock Dynasty, a lot of freaks and secret treasures were sealed by the Second Warlock Dynasty using a forbidden stone." The Second Warlock Dynasty? Although Yang Feng obtained some apprentice warlock's memories, but he didn't grasp that knowledge, therefore he was very unfamiliar with Tyrannid subcontinent's history and so on. From the rise of warlocks until now, there have been a total of 8 great warlock dynasties. Every time a warlock dynasty flourishes, the world's human forces would conquer countless planes. Formidable warlocks can even enslave fiends, enslave gods, capture fiends and gods from other planes, and use them as top-notch alchemy materials to refine. Tyrannid subcontinent is only a subsidiary subcontinent outside of the main continent. In Tyrannid subcontinent, the strongest person is only at the Great Warlock rank. In the main continent, there are top-notch experts above the Great Warlock rank. In Bonnie's memories, Warlock College Antalya, White Elephant's Ivory, Eyes of Justice, Rose Garden, Savage Claw and Black Dragon Pagoda. These are Tyrannid subcontinent's 6 most formidable great warlock groups. The shadows of the main continent's formidable forces are behind them. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of graveness. The excitement from capturing Black City at once faded by a lot. "So that's how it is, this world is much more formidable than I imagined." Yang Feng said, "Take me to the location of the treasure from the Forbidden Stone." "Yes, owner." Under Robot Bonnie's guidance, Yang Feng arrived at the Warlock Pagoda's first underground floor. The Warlock Pagoda's first underground floor was a wide square. In the center of the square was a huge pool of blood. The edge of the pool of blood was engraved with countless runes brimming with mysterious power. In the surroundings of the pool of blood, there were nodes inlaid with blood-colored crystals as well as pieces of magic stones brimming with mysterious power. In the center of the pool of blood, there was a transparent crystal basin. On top of that transparent crystal basin, there was a huge egg engraved with all kinds of mysterious runes. The pool of blood churned and surged. Traces of blood-colored aura rose and entered the huge egg. That huge egg was like a huge heart. From time to time, it would emit the sound of a heartbeat. Every time the sound of a heartbeat was heard, a small energy fluctuation would be set off in the square. This is the treasure that Bonnie got from the Forbidden Stone. He was going to turn the life form inside the egg into his contract beast. In order to incubate the life form inside the egg and let the life form inside the egg be full of vitality, he set up this altar and slaughtered 1376 virgins, carrying out the sacrificial ceremony of blood sacrifice. The sacrificial ceremony is basically completed. All that's left is to establish a contract with the life form inside the egg. After another 5 days, the life form inside the egg will officially break out of its shell and come into the world. However, this is a contract beast that can only be tamed by an official level 1 warlock. Owner, you don't have any foundation as a warlock, therefore, you can't use normal methods to establish a soul contract with a life form inside the egg. Chapter 21. In Bonnie's memories, apart from using a warlock's power to sign a soul contract with that egg, there's another method. That is, Master, you must stay here with that egg for 20 days. No less than 3 hours a day. Moreover, 50 milliliters of blood must be drawn from your body every day to irrigate that egg and establish a connection with it. Coupled with the altar's power, it's possible to make the life form within the egg develop a scholarly feeling towards Master. This way, after Master possesses the power of an official level 1 warlock, then you can easily sign a soul contract with it and make it your contract beast. Yang Feng finished listening to Robot Bonnie's words and couldn't help but suck in a mouthful of cold air. In order to hatch an egg, he actually massacred 1,376 virgins. Such a vicious guy. Using living people for biological experiments isn't a rare thing for warlocks. A lot of taboo experiments require humans to carry out biological experiments in order to obtain the most accurate and safe data. In the eyes of the majority of warlocks, mortals are ant-like existences. In the Second Imperial Dynasty, where the taboo experiments were the most crazy, there were even hundreds of millions of humans who died from all kinds of crazy taboo experiments. Demons, the great enemy of humans, were the product of a taboo experiment in the Second Imperial Dynasty. The Second Imperial Dynasty was also destroyed by demons and humans. However, after experiencing countless painful lessons, Tyrannid subcontinent currently prohibits the large-scale massacre of civilians to carry out biological experiments. Bonnie used 1376 virgins. More than 1,000 of them were purchased slaves from all over the world. The rest were gifts offered to him from all over the world. He used these slaves and gifts to carry out biological experiments. It doesn't violate the warlock's laws. At most, he would receive some moral condemnation. Therefore, he was very secretive and placed the altar underground. In the entire warlock pagoda, only he alone can enter this place. Robot Bonnie said. Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly. He vaguely felt that he had arrived in a somewhat crazy world. Yang Feng said in a low voice, "If I had lost to Bonnie at that time, then I would have also been captured by him and turned into a subject for human experiments." Robot Bonnie said, "Yes. Contract beast." Yang Feng looked at the strange egg in the center of the altar. His eyes flickered as he sank into contemplation. After beheading Bonnie and capturing Black City, Yang Feng would then face Fernando Principality's counterattack. This was also the most dangerous period of time. The best course of action would of course be for Yang Feng's body to hide in an unknown basement and calmly wait for the storm to pass. He had already manufactured a large number of level 6 and 7 primary battle robots. He could abandon everything at any time and leave Fernando Principality to start anew. Once Yang Feng chose to hatch the strange egg that appeared in the taboo stone, then he might face great danger. Fernando Principality had already been established for more than 300 years. Nobody knew what kind of heritage they possessed. In any case, all the warlocks that attempted to challenge Fernando Principality in these 300 years were already dead. Even an official level 2 warlock had fallen. Yang Feng said hesitantly, "Can it be moved or delayed?" It has now entered the final stage of incubation. Once the egg is removed from this altar, it will be heavily injured, and its evolution potential will decrease. According to Bonnie's memories, only a knowledgeable expert above the Great Warlock rank would be able to remove the egg from the altar or delay its incubation. If he moved the egg away, it would lose its value as a contracted beast. However, it can still be used as rare material to study the forbidden experiments of the Second Dynasty. The Second Dynasty had already existed for nearly 1,000,000 years. A lot of taboo stones with all kinds of items sealed inside were already very rare. For Bonnie to be able to obtain that taboo stone was also an enormous fortune. Even if the egg inside the taboo stone was dead, it would still have an astonishing research value in modern times. Yang Feng pondered for a moment and finally made a decision. "All right. My body will hurry over here as soon as possible. You'll ensure that the ceremony is carried out." Taboo stones were extremely rare in Tyrannid subcontinent. Once they were discovered, they would basically be used by people or collected by the 6 great forces. The egg obtained from the taboo stone might be the last egg in Tyrannid subcontinent that could become a contracted beast. Yang Feng didn't want to let go of this opportunity. Bonnie said respectfully, "Yes, owner." Yang Feng took a deep look at the strange egg placed on the altar, then turned around and left the Warlock Pagoda. Black City. Within the city master's mansion. Apprentice warlocks dressed in a grey pow were neatly standing, gazing at Yang Feng sitting on the seat of honor. Many of the apprentice warlocks' eyes flashed with resentment. Beside those apprentice warlocks stood 400 fully armed mechanical bladed troops. As long as those apprentice warlocks made the slightest movement, then those apprentice warlocks would be completely beheaded. This headband can detect your thoughts. This collar is equipped with an alchemy bomb. Once you have any unfavorable thoughts towards us, this collar will blow up your brains. Now, immediately line up, one by one put on this collar and headband. Otherwise, I'll kill you right now. Yang Feng clapped his hands. Mechanical bladed troops carrying basins of black collars and silver rings walked out from both sides. When those apprentice warlocks heard that, their complexions paled. They looked at each other and hesitated. Yang Feng said grimly, "I'll only give you 10 seconds to consider. If you don't line up within 10 seconds, then die." 10. When they heard the death countdown, those apprentice warlocks' complexions paled one by one. They quickly lined up. Yang Feng swept the main hall with a glance and said coldly, "0. If you don't line up, then kill." 200 bladed troops at once rushed into the midst of those 10 hesitant apprentice warlocks, brandishing their blades and madly chopping those 10 apprentice warlocks into pieces. The remaining apprentice warlocks' complexions paled, their bodies trembled, their eyes flashed with endless fear. "Let's begin." Yang Feng sat on the seat of honor, one hand supporting his face. He grimly squinted at those remaining apprentice warlocks. Under Yang Feng's command, Black Cottage's apprentice warlock stepped forward and carefully put on the black collar and silver ring. Bang! After an apprentice warlock put on the black collar and silver ring, the silver ring lit up, the black collar immediately exploded, directly blowing up that apprentice warlock's head. Seeing this scene, those apprentice warlocks were so scared that their bodies trembled, their eyes brimming with fear. They looked at Yang Feng as if they were looking at a great demon king. Yang Feng said with a cold smile, "You want to pretend to surrender, then take advantage of the opportunity to assassinate me? Interesting. It's impossible to hide your thoughts from that mysterious treasure, the silver ring. Continue." Chapter 22. Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks trembled with fear as they put on the black collar and the silver headband. Only 3 people's heads exploded, the rest were lucky enough to pass the test. Yang Feng said with some surprise, "What a surprise! I thought at least half of you would have your heads blown off. I didn't expect your loyalty to Black Cabin to be so little." Many apprentice warlocks' eyes flashed with a touch of shame. The great lord of steel Yang Yi. "Although we are Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks, but apart from the Black Cottage's master's few beloved disciples, in order to obtain Black Cottage's knowledge, we have paid a sufficient price. Every skill required a large amount of gold coins and magic stones to be taught. Moreover, every year we have to run around for the Black Cottage, earning magic stones and gold coins in exchange for warlock knowledge. Our relationship with the Black Cottage is merely an exchange of benefits, so we naturally don't have much loyalty." A level 2 apprentice warlock with short blonde hair, a medium build and an ordinary appearance came out from the crowd of apprentice warlocks, knelt on the ground and explained to Yang Feng. The level 2 apprentice warlock prostrated on the ground and said respectfully, "We've already fulfilled our obligations towards Black Cottage, now Black Cottage has been defeated. We just want to live. Please be magnanimous and grant us a way out. We are willing to serve you." When the rest of the apprentice warlocks saw this scene, they inwardly cursed shamelessness. They also followed suit and prostrated on the ground, respectfully saying, "Please give us a way out, we are willing to serve you." Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "Interesting. What's your name?" Alan raised his head and looked at Yang Feng, his eyes flickered with traces of ambition as he said respectfully, "Mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren, my name is Alan." Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of a scorching radiance and he said unhurriedly, "You will represent me in Warlock College and Talia. You tell them that within a month, I will destroy the Fernandro family and dominate the entire Fernandro Principality. At the same time, I am willing to inherit Fernandro Principality's power and duties." Although Fernandro Principality couldn't be compared to the several great empires, it still possessed extremely rich resources. especially the extremely rich mineral resources. Once Yang Feng grasped them, his power would expand rapidly. Given time, it was entirely possible to contend against Antalya and the other 6 great warlock groups. Currently, what Yang Feng needed the most was land, resources and time. Temporarily attaching himself to Warlock College Antalya wasn't a bad thing. Moreover, if he wants to tread on the Warlock's path, he also needs Warlock College Antalya's support. Alan said somewhat worriedly. Darren, Fernandro clan and Warlock College Antalya are on good terms. The first Fernandro clan's patriarch was a student of Warlock College Antalya. Moreover, Fernandro clan would always dispatch the clan's geniuses with the best aptitudes to study in Warlock College Antalya. Many of Warlock College Antalya's teachers received Fernandro clan's care when they were poor. The relationship between both parties was very close. You might infuriate Warlock College Antalya, Yang Feng said coldly. Tell them that if they don't agree, then I choose to join Savage Claw, acting as a sharp sword to slash at them. Alan exclaimed, join the Wild Claws. Good idea. The great Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren is really wise. Savage Claw and Warlock College Antalya were mortal enemies. They had been fighting each other for more than a millennium. Both parties had the blood of countless experts on their hands. As one of the 6 great forces, Warlock College Antalya was slightly weaker than Savage Claw. If a formidable warlock capable of capturing a warlock pagoda joined Savage Claw, then the pressure on Warlock College Antalya would become even greater. After Alan flattered Yang Feng, he changed his tone and said somewhat worriedly, but Fernandro Principality is one of the member states of the Southern States Alliance. The Southern States Alliance is the foundation of Warlock College Antalya. They won't easily relinquish Fernandro Principality's authority. Although Alan wasn't strong, merely at the level of a level 2 apprentice warlock, but he had always helped Black Cottage deal with all kinds of secular matters, he was very familiar with the world situation. Yang Feng said faintly, if it really doesn't work, then let Fernandro Principality cede Golden Sand City and Iron and Wood City to me. In exchange, I'll send my only remaining direct Blood Meridian inheritor to Warlock College Antalya to practice the Warlock path. That direct Blood Meridian inheritor is also the young lord that all of you will serve henceforth. You must serve him like how you serve me. If he dies, then all of you will die. Therefore, you must use your lives to protect him. Do you understand? Yes. Great Steel Lord Darren. The apprentice warlocks present felt a shiver in their hearts and respectfully responded. Yang Feng swept Alan with a glance and said faintly, Alan, I've never been stingy with my capable subordinates. If you can complete this task, then after you return, they'll be your subordinates. Furthermore, if there's a chance, then I'll help you become an official level 1 warlock. Yes. Great Steel Lord Darren. I'll definitely complete this task. Alan's eyes brightened and his voice trembled with excitement. The rest of Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks looked at Alan. Their eyes also revealed traces of jealousy and envy. The disparity between an apprentice warlock and an official warlock was like a moat. An official level 1 warlock in Tyrandot subcontinent. No matter where they go, they'll be enthusiastically recruited. As long as they join a country, then they'll be able to obtain the status of an aristocrat. Moreover, no matter which country they go to, they'll be recognized as an aristocrat. Wanting to become an official level 1 warlock is extremely difficult. Within the entire Black Cottage, there's only Bonnie, this 1 level 1 warlock. But the number of apprentice warlocks in Black Cottage actually exceeds 100 people. Once Alan becomes an official level 1 warlock, then his status will undergo an earth-shaking change. Those apprentice warlocks were naturally very envious of Alan. In order to pursue formidable power, many warlocks had once carried out transactions with formidable beings from other planes. Warlocks who had transactions with fiends and devils emerged one after another. In order to obtain formidable power, Bonnie had even transplanted himself with a fiend's blood meridians. If those apprentice warlocks had the power to carry out transactions with fiends and devils, then they'll definitely carry out transactions with those freaks, so that they can promote to a level 1 warlock and obtain formidable power and a long lifespan. Just by working for Yang Feng, it's possible to obtain the opportunity to promote to a level 1 warlock, making those apprentice warlocks full of envy and jealousy towards Alan. Chapter 23. In the evening, Black City was under curfew. In the streets of Black City, teams of level 4 bladed troops patrolled everywhere. The entire Black City was not allowed to light a lamp, it was pitch black, forming a lightless world, like a deathly silent city. Only those red electronic eyes of the bladed troops shuttled back and forth in the darkness, extremely terrifying. The earth slightly shook, and uniform walking sounds were transmitted. 200 level, 6 bladed troops, 50 level, 7 shield troops, 100 level, 6 gunner troops, and 30 level, 7 artillery troops formed a large force walking in Black City. A silver car was slowly driving in the middle of that large force. In the air, an owl silently flew out of a hut, its eyes flashing with the unique radiance of an intelligent life form. Shortly after the owl flew out of the hut, from inside a fortress, a red light flashed, an electronic eye completely locked onto the owl, and a 12.5 mm gun barrel extended out. Along with the sound of cloth tearing, a red light flashed, and the owl in the sky was directly torn to pieces, countless minced meat scattered on the ground. A team of 100 bladed troops rushed over from afar, quickly arriving in front of the hut. The leading bladed troop directly swung its saber at the door of the hut, directly chopping it into pieces, before leading the crowd to rush inside. Inside the door, a small candle was lit, the dim light shone inside the hut, making the objects inside the hut faintly visible. Inside the room stood a man and a woman, the man was handsome, the woman was beautiful. After the bladed troops broke into the room, their complexions all of a sudden became incomparably pale. The young man somewhat timidly asked, "Sirs, may I ask what's the matter? Why did you break into our house?" The bladed troops raised the alloy sabers in their hands, their figures flashed, and directly pounced towards the young man and woman. "Grease spell!" The seemingly very ordinary woman clenched her teeth, pointed at the leading bladed troop, and cast a level 0 spell. The bladed troop's foot slipped, and it directly fell to the ground. The bladed troops in the rear didn't lose momentum, trampling on the fallen bladed troop, and continued to pounce forward. The young man looked at the expressionless bladed troop and couldn't help but shout, "We surrender! We are the spies of White Elephant's Ivory, and we are also the emissaries sent by White Elephant's Ivory. Please stop. I wish to seek an audience with the Steel Lord Yang Yi." The 6 alloy blades stopped in an instant. The sharp blades were only a centimeter away from the young man. The 10 alloy blades also stopped beside the beautiful woman's neck. She was so scared that she didn't dare to move at all. During the siege, the two of them had experienced the ruthlessness of those bladed troops. No matter how those thugs who took advantage of the opportunity to loot houses pleaded, those bladed troops mercilessly killed them one by one. They were simply not like humans. A bladed troop said with an emotionless mechanical voice, "Follow me. If you make any strange movements, only death awaits you." The 2 White Elephant's Ivory spies heaved a sigh of relief. Under the escort of the bladed troops, they obediently walked towards the direction of the prison. Bang! 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 Along with the continuous sounds of cannons, a rat hiding in a corner was directly blasted apart along with the corner of a nearby house, turning into fragments. After the rat hiding in a dark corner was eliminated, the electronic eyes of a 5M tall level 6 gunner troop equipped with 4 6-barreled Vulcan cannons and 2 37mm caliber anti-aircraft cannons flashed with a red light. It then put down the 6-barreled Vulcan cannon. Warlocks had a variety of methods. They were very strange. Some warlocks could easily manipulate all kinds of animals to act as their eyes and ears and carry out reconnaissance. In addition to the necessary defensive forces, the mechanical legions were quickly transferred from their garrisons to Black City to await orders. Chapter 24. Fernando Principality's capital, Nerona City, within the royal palace. A blue-haired, blue-eyed, aquiline nose, a burly bear-like man sat on the main seat, his gaze brimming with ice-cold majesty. This blue-haired, blue-eyed man was the current Archduke Fernando. This generation's Archduke Fernando was one of the most outstanding archdukes in Fernando Principality's history. Under his leadership, the entire Fernando Principality was thriving, several times more prosperous than in the past. Under the gaze of Archduke Fernando, the ministers below were somewhat restless and somewhat fearful. Archduke Fernando was clear about rewards and punishments. The rewards were definitely generous, but the punishments were also definitely hard to bear. Archduke Fernando spoke in a low voice, stressing each syllable. I want to know the origin of Steel Lord Yang Yi. The ministers present all lowered their heads, not daring to look Archduke Fernando in the eye. Yang Feng had just emerged for less than half a year. The gazes of these ministers previously practically didn't pay attention to that remote corner of Autumn Leaf Town. No one would have thought that in a short span of less than 3 months, even Black City would fall into enemy hands. Archduke Fernando's gaze turned around and fell on a middle-aged man with already somewhat grizzled hair. That middle-aged man was Fernando Principality's Minister of Defense, Archer. Archer said unhurriedly, Your Majesty, according to the intelligence, Autumn Leaf Town's Zhao Zhang suddenly occupied Blackrock Town more than 2 months ago. He was the commander of Steel Lord Yang Ye's Mechanical Golem Legion. Immediately after, Giant Stone City dispatched troops to suppress the rebels, but they were defeated by Steel Lord's Mechanical Golem Legion. Then Steel Lord Yang Ye's Mechanical Golem Legion once again raided Black City and killed Grandmaster Bonnie. According to my conjecture, Zhao Zhang is very likely to have obtained 6th Dynasty's relics, as well as 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion. 6th Dynasty. That Mechanical Golem Legion is a product of 6th Dynasty. 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion is a terrifying existence capable of slaughtering gods. If that's really 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion, then how can we possibly resist them? Hearing the name 6th Dynasty, the complexions of all the ministers at once became incomparably pale, and they discussed spiritedly. Among the 8 great warlock dynasties, the 2nd Warlock Dynasty was brimming with all kinds of taboo experiments. The 6th Dynasty was a dynasty that specialized in forging all kinds of secret treasures. The 6th Dynasty was also called the Secret Treasure Dynasty. Mechanical marionettes were a powerful battle weapon developed by the Secret Treasure Dynasty. During the 6th Dynasty, the mechanical marionette army of the 6th Dynasty had also conquered many planes and slaughtered countless gods and demons from those planes. The 6th Dynasty's greatest masterpiece, the King of Mechanical Golems, Arkanti, was one of the most powerful existences. Later, for some unknown reason, under the temptation of the devil, Arkanti led 1/3 of his Mechanical Golem Legion to rebel against the 6th Dynasty, which led to the destruction of the 6th Dynasty. After the destruction of the 6th Dynasty, Arkanti drifted to a powerful prime material plane, occupied that prime material plane, and became the ruler of that prime material plane. The prime material plane was now called a machine and an apple plane. It was also one of the most powerful and terrifying planes known to mankind. Many demons and gods had gone to the plane of a machine and an apple, in an attempt to kill Arkanti, who was said to be very weak. But all the powerful existences that went to that plane were turned into specimens, and hung in front of the mechanical gate. Over time, no powerful existences dared to go to the plane of a machine and an apple. The 6th Dynasty's mechanical marionette army was so fierce and powerful. If any soldier of the 6th Dynasty's strongest mechanical marionette army went to Tyrandot subcontinent, they could completely sweep the entire Tyrandot subcontinent, and no one would be able to match them. Archer said in a deep voice, Everyone, don't panic. Even if he obtained the 6th Dynasty's mechanical marionette army, the original mechanical marionette army already doesn't have much power. According to the information we obtained, those mechanical marionettes currently only have knight rank battle strength. Moreover, most of them are close combat type mechanical marionettes, and should be some defective goods. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been so easily obtained by him. As long as we use the Bloodbat Battle Knights, we can easily annihilate them. Bloodbat Battle Knights. If it's them, they should be able to annihilate those mechanical marionettes. If it's just knight rank marionettes, there's no need to worry. They're all antiques from hundreds of thousands of years ago. They shouldn't have much power left. The complexions of the Fernando Principality's ministers became slightly better, and they unceasingly consoled themselves. If it was the 6th Dynasty's elite mechanical marionette army that could slaughter demons and gods, then they absolutely wouldn't be able to resist. However, they still had the confidence to resist 1 or 2 defective goods. Archduke Fernando said unhurriedly, Snake Evil Eyes and White Bear Fangs have also agreed to form an alliance with us to annihilate Yang Yi. I need the Parliament's authorization to mobilize 100,000 magic stones as military expenditure. Magic stones were a kind of energy crystallization with mysterious power. The diameter of a standard-sized magic stone was approximately the size of an adult's index finger. Magic stones were treasures that were used in alchemy, golemology, and all kinds of rituals. Magic stones were also the unit of measurement in the world of warlocks. The price of a magic stone was approximately 100 gold coins, which was equivalent to 200,000 copper coins. 100,000 magic stones were equivalent to 10 million gold coins, or 2 billion copper coins. Archduke Fernando also needed the Parliament's authorization to mobilize this huge sum of money. Agreed. Your Majesty, I'll definitely spare no effort. This motion will be passed by the Parliament. The ministers seconded the motion one after another. A day later, Fernando's Parliament convened in secret, and the motion to mobilize 100,000 magic stones was passed at an extremely fast speed. 3 days later, Blood Dragon mountain range was located approximately 100 kilometers north of Fernando Principality's capital. It was a vast mountain range shrouded in endless forests. Blood Dragon mountain range completely belonged to Fernando family. Apart from those who were recognized by Fernando family, anyone who entered Blood Dragon mountain range would be directly executed. Blood Dragon mountain range was extremely rich in natural resources. Fernando family could obtain enormous wealth from Blood Dragon mountain range every year. In the depths of Blood Dragon mountain range was a valley surrounded by several 100-meter-tall mountain peaks. It was covered with caves of various sizes.
From time to time, there would be huge bats with a wingspan of up to 10 m, their bodies seemingly dyed red with blood, and their mouths full of sharp fangs flying out of those caves.
One by one, the mechanical legion that had shrunk into Black City was immediately launched, forming a mechanical flood. From within Black City, they uniformly and rapidly marched, taking the initiative to greet Fernando Principality's army. Above Fernando Principality's army flew an enormous magic carpet with a diameter of up to 100 m. On top of that magic carpet stood 3 people. They were Snake Evil Eyes, White Bear Fangs and Fernando Clan's 3 great level, 2 warlocks. Chapter 26. They're here. Yang Ye's Mechanical Golem Legion. A man in a black robe with 2 small black snakes coiled around his body, each with a single horn on its head. He had a pair of snake-like vertical eyes and held a 2-meter-long mace in his hand, said in a deep voice. The man dressed in a black chongpao and had snake-like vertical eyes was the level 2 warlock Arbane with snake evil eyes. The middle-aged man dressed in a white chongpao and held a black book in his hand, had blonde hair and blue eyes, had a handsome appearance and said in a deep voice, "Bloodbat Knights, attack! Destroy those golems!" The middle-aged man was Fernando Clan's level 2 warlock Kenny. He was also the most formidable existence among the 3 great level 2 warlocks. He was the commander of the army. The Bloodbat Knights warriors riding on their huge bloodbats flew in the sky. Giant strength. Accurate shot. Haste. The apprentice warlocks below frantically cast level 0 spells and blessed the Bloodbat Knights warriors with a large number of status spells. After the Bloodbat Knights warriors as well as their pets received the blessings, their battle prowess immediately soared by a fold and they once again flew into the sky. The warriors of the Bloodbat Knights quickly flew above the bladed troop mechanical legion, and threw palm-sized alchemy bombs downwards. Boom, boom, boom. Along with a series of loud sounds, the palm-sized alchemy bombs exploded as soon as they landed on the ground. The terrifying explosions directly blasted the level 4 mechanical bladed troops into pieces, with countless components scattering on the ground. Yang Feng watched as the level 4 mechanical bladed troops were blasted to pieces and his eyes flashed with a touch of graveness. Biological bombers. Truly amazing. Under the bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights, the level 4 mechanical bladed troops still didn't dodge or evade. They didn't make any sounds amidst the explosions and expressionlessly rushed towards Fernando Principality's army. The eyes of the medium-built level 2 warlock Jamet from White Bear Fangs flashed with a touch of graveness and he said unhurriedly, "The Mechanical Golem Legion is indeed one of 6th Dynasty's most terrifying trump cards. Even if these are only some defective knight rank products, once they appear in large numbers, they're still so terrifying." The ordinary human armies had long collapsed under the bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights' alchemy bombs. Even if they didn't collapse, they would scatter in all directions and look for cover. However, those bladed troops were still fearless. They charged towards Fernando Principality. This kind of power was simply terrifying. under the siege of more than 10,000 level 4 bladed troops. Even a level 2 warlock could only cut a sorry figure and flee. In the end, it's just some defective goods. Kenny smiled coldly and flipped open the black book in his hand. Dozens of pitch-black seeds flew out of a black page and landed on the ground. As soon as the dozens of pitch-black seeds fell into the ground, they grew madly, transforming into dozens of pitch-black vines that were dozens of meters long. The dozens of pitch-black vines crazily swung, like dozens of huge whips. They ferociously lashed at the level 4 bladed troops, sending them flying. The several tens of long pitch-black vines obstructed a large number of level 4 bladed troops, while the group of heavy knights in heavy armor launched a charge, directly splitting the scattered level 4 bladed troops into pieces and sending them flying. 1,000 advanced warriors with sledgehammers in their hands fiercely hammered those level 4 bladed troops. The level 4 bladed troops were smashed into pieces one by one. After Fernando Principality knew that Yang Feng was using a mechanical legion, he immediately changed the weapons of his troops. They switched to heavy weapons like sledgehammers. Thus, after the ordinary troops were blessed with tremendous strength, haste and a series of level 0 auxiliary spells, they also possessed the power to threaten ordinary level 4 bladed troops. Those apprentice warlocks quietly stood in the center of the army. Protected by the army, they didn't release any offensive level 0 spells. Instead, they were always preparing a variety of level 0 auxiliary spells, helping the human army at any time. Under the protection of those apprentice warlocks, the official level 1 warlocks were calmly watching everything. Conserving their spirit force and physical strength, they would only act at the most crucial moment. Under the assistance of the formidable level 2 warlock Kenny, the huge level 4 bladed troops were forcibly blocked for a moment. The bloodbat knights in the sky unceasingly threw alchemical bombs, blasting the level 4 bladed troops into pieces, countless components scattering everywhere. Hundreds and thousands of bladed troops were fragmented and turned into countless components and fragments in the midst of the explosions. Yang Feng looked at the level 4 bladed troops that were fragmented by the explosions. He coldly ordered, "Gunner troops, attack!" 10,000 gunner troops that had long since found cover to hide on one side suddenly appeared. They raised their 12.5mm heavy machine guns and madly fired at the bloodbat knights in the sky. Along with ear-piercing sounds of cloth being torn apart, countless flares blossomed. A dense rain of metal bullets shrouded the sky in a flash. A little bit of blood blossomed in the sky. One after another, the bloodbat knights were shot full of sieves by the terrifying heavy machine gun bullets, falling to the ground from the sky. The giant bloodbats also continuously fell from the sky, turning into corpses. Rise! Rise! Fernand's complexion changed greatly. In a flash his whole body erupted with a formidable life force, shrouding his whole body. Simultaneously, he issued a tremendous roar, urging the giant bloodbat below him to directly climb towards the sky. More than a dozen heavy machine gun bullets hit Fernand's body. Immediately after, they were directly distorted by the incomparably formidable life force and ricocheted away. Among knight-rank martial artists, only 1 in 100,000 would appear as a Sky Knight. Once promoted to a Sky Knight, one would be able to erupt with a formidable life force for defense within a short period of time. The defensive strength of that life force was comparable to that of a level 1 defensive spell. This was also the most important reason why a Sky Knight could contend against a level 1 warlock. In order to be as accurate as possible in killing the level 4 bladed troops, the bloodbat knights flew at a relatively low altitude, becoming a good target. Under the crazy fire of the 10,000 gunner troops, more than 1,000 bloodbat knights warriors were directly torn to shreds by that terrifying firepower. The remaining bloodbat knights warriors desperately flew towards the sky. Fuck! That damned bastard! Kenny saw that more than 1,000 bloodbat knights warriors were killed. His heart was dripping blood. He gnashed his teeth and cursed. The bloodbat knights warriors were death warriors nurtured by Fernando clan since childhood. They were loyal and devoted to Fernando clan. The resources consumed by each bloodbat knights warrior was equivalent to the size of a gold mountain. Now that they lost more than 1,000 warriors, the bloodbat knight's strength had already been damaged. Chapter 27. After the level 4 gunner troops forced the bloodbat knights out of their firing range, they immediately turned their muzzles and madly shot at the 3 level 2 warlocks sitting on the magic carpet. Sparks sparkled and countless metal bullets bombarded the 3 level 2 warlocks like raindrops. Distortion force field. Arbane pointed with his finger and cast a level 1 defensive spell. A warping force field suddenly appeared in front of the magic carpet. Countless heavy machine gun bullets hit the warping force field, but their trajectories were immediately distorted and deflected. However, the rain of bullets below was almost endless, and the distorted force field only lasted for 5 seconds before it collapsed. Arbane was forced to release another distortion force field to defend himself. Arbane frowned and said in a deep voice, "Let's go down. At this rate, my mental strength will be depleted very quickly." A level 2 warlock can easily cast level 1 spells. But the spirit force of a level 2 warlock wasn't limitless. At that time, when Bonnie was inside the warlock pagoda, he could draw support from the warlock pagoda's power to display a terrifying strength, but he was also forced out of the warlock pagoda by the tens of thousands of bladed troops. Arbane's strength still couldn't compare to Bonnie's inside the warlock pagoda. If he continues to consume his energy like this, then only death awaits him. Kenny looked down with a gloomy gaze. Having lost the bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights in the sky, the densely packed level 4 bladed troops swarmed forward, chopping the black vines into pieces. The apprentice warlocks have already made their moves, casting a variety of level 0 spells to assist in weakening those level 4 bladed troops' battle prowess. But the number of level 4 bladed troops is really too many. Even if those apprentice warlocks go all out to cast a variety of level 0 spells, the black vines are still chopped into pieces. Before long, those bladed troops will kill their way into Fernandro Principality's main army. Even with the help of a level 1 warlock, Fernandro Principality's army definitely wasn't a match for those level 4 bladed troops. Even if only one of those bladed troops dies, as long as they don't receive the order to retreat, they will still fight to the death without retreating. On the other hand, if the casualties of the human warriors exceeded 10,000, they would immediately collapse. Jamt frowned and said in a deep voice, "Let's retreat." Requesting assistance from Warlock College Antalya. This Steel Lord Yang Yi may not have much ability, but his mechanical golem legion is too powerful. The strength of a level 2 warlock was far more formidable than that of a level 1 warlock. Moreover, the most troublesome part about them was that they would choose to escape when the situation was not good. In theory, a mortal army of 10,000 already possessed the strength to besiege a level 2 warlock. But it was impossible for the level 2 warlock to stand there and fight to the death with a mortal army. The level 2 warlocks could choose to behead the leader, or they could choose to engage in guerrilla warfare, or they could even use poison. In any case, there were plenty of methods to gradually eliminate the mortal army. When Jamt saw that the situation was not good, he wanted to retreat. He was not willing to risk his life for tens of thousands of magic stones. Kenny said with a gloomy expression, "Jamt, I know you have a level 1 prophecy scroll. Sell it to me, and I will pay you a satisfactory price." The divination system was the most difficult system to cultivate within the warlock system. The most representative types were astrologer and fate warlock. Astrologer and fate warlock, such formidable divination system warlocks were extremely difficult to cultivate. They required extraordinary talent as well as great luck, countless resources, and painstaking efforts to be successful in their cultivation. Apart from these 2 types of formidable orthodox warlocks, there were also a lot of other divination system warlocks, but their accomplishments weren't very great, and very few people cultivated them. Divination spell scrolls were also very rare, and each one was extremely precious. Jamt grinned and said, "I want the level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring on your body." Arbane's eyelids twitched, and he stared at the cyan bracelet on Kenny's right hand. Secret treasures were warlock alchemists who used formidable alchemy to refine all kinds of precious materials into extraordinary treasures. Every secret treasure was extremely precious. Especially defensive secret treasures that could save one's life, they were even more precious. The level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring was the best defensive secret treasure in Kenny's possession, and it was also one of the 5 best defensive secret treasures of Fernandro clan. Under ordinary circumstances, to be able to exchange a level 1 divination scroll for a level 1 defensive secret treasure was already very lucky. Jamt using that level 1 divination to exchange for the green revolving ring was clearly robbing a burning house. Kenny's expression was gloomy as he said in a cold voice, "A level 1 divination can't predict the position of a level 2 warlock. If Yang Yi was a level 2 warlock, or if he learned a spell to resist divination, then this scroll of divination would be a waste." Divination was extremely strange. Mortals were basically unable to resist it.
So long as a divination was used, then unless an ordinary person hid in an area shrouded by extraordinary power, otherwise, they would have nowhere to hide. Although mortals were unable to resist divination, but warlocks possessed all kinds of means and secret treasures to resist divination. Of course, only an official warlock with a formidable inheritance could have the means to resist divination. If a level 1 divination was used on a level 2 warlock, then it would basically have no effect. Jampt grinned and said, "Kenny, don't be angry. If you don't want to exchange, then forget it. We'll retreat. If you don't retreat, then your dark vines will be killed." After Kenny's gaze changed several times, he finally clenched his teeth, took off the green revolving ring on his right hand and threw it to Jampt. "Good. I'll exchange." After Jampt received the bracelet, he gave a satisfied smile, then took out a golden scroll and threw it to Kenny. Kenny received the golden scroll, then at once poured a tremendous amount of spirit force into the golden scroll. The golden scroll at once radiated with a golden radiance, then formed an arrow pointing straight at Black City's Warlock Pagoda. Inside the Warlock Pagoda, Xiaofan looked at the golden arrow through the display screen. His heart slightly sank as he said, "What spell is this?" Robot Bonnie said, "This is divination. Owner, you've been targeted by divination." Before the effect of divination loses its effect, the caster will be aware of the position. At present, there's no way to resist it. Only if you upgrade the stronghold to level 4, then you'll be able to produce the corresponding divination isolating machine. Chapter 28. Kenny's eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement and he said in a deep voice, "The divination spell was a success. This means that he's merely a level 1 warlock at most, and that he was lucky enough to obtain a defective product of 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion. Please help me suppress his Warlock Pagoda. I'll go get rid of him." Jampt and Arbane both nodded in agreement and said, "All right." Kenny looked for the 2 great level 2 warlocks in order to suppress Black City's Warlock Pagoda. Only then could he seize the opportunity to kill Steel Lord Yang Yi inside the Warlock Pagoda. The 3 great level 2 warlocks urged the magic carpet to quickly fly towards the Warlock Pagoda. A large number of level 4 gunner troops madly swept towards the sky. The majority of the terrifying metal barrage directly missed. Only a portion of the bullets hit the 3 great level 2 warlocks. The bullets that hit the ground also deviated from their trajectories under the distortion of the warping force field and shot into the distance. The 3 great level 2 warlocks abandoned Fernandro's main legion that was bitterly fighting, and appeared in the sky above Black City in less than 10 minutes, before directly flying towards the Warlock Pagoda. Kenny looked at the 3-story-tall Warlock Pagoda. His eyes flashed with a whiff of malevolence and he sneered, "Steel Lord Yang Yi, you're dead." The 3 great level 2 warlocks joined hands to besiege a level 1 warlock locked by the divination spell. Even if that level 1 warlock was hiding inside the Warlock Pagoda, it would still be difficult for him to escape death. Suddenly, the roofs of the buildings opened, revealing pitch-black gun muzzles. Almost in a split second, the surroundings of Black City's Warlock Pagoda formed an anti-aircraft artillery position. Inside the anti-aircraft artillery position, the number of 37 5mm anti-aircraft cannons reached up to 2,000. Not good. Warping force field. Air god shield. Kenny saw the sudden appearance of the anti-aircraft cannons below. Immediately a trace of an ominous premonition welled up in his heart. He instantly launched a level 1 defensive spell. Simultaneously he stimulated a defensive secret treasure and launched a level 3 defensive spell. Boom, 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 boom. The ear-piercing rumbles of the cannons in a flash resounded throughout Black City. Countless red lights were shot from the city shrouded in darkness, directly swallowing Kenny and his party. Each cannon shell was equivalent to a level 1 spell. Even if most of the cannons missed, there were still thousands upon thousands of cannonballs comparable to first-tier spells bombarding the first-tier spell distortion force field, instantly shattering it. Terrifying machine gun shells bombarded Kenny and the other 2 great warlocks. Kenny's group of 3 instantly activated defensive spells one after another. But those defensive spells collapsed one after another. Arbane himself was torn to shreds by the terrifying cannonball. Right before Jampt was about to be torn apart by the cannonballs, he finally activated his bloodline transformation ability and transformed into a Komodo flying snake with wings. With his half-destroyed body, he flew into the sky and disappeared.
Kenny launched the third-tier spell Air Shield and relied on it to resist the countless cannonballs for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, the black book in Kenny's hand flipped rapidly, and a pair of griffin wings flew out from one of the pages and landed on Kenny's back. As soon as Kenny got on the griffin's wings, he turned around and flew away without looking back. Under the bombardment of the countless cannonballs, he was basically unable to approach the Warlock Pagoda. Matrix fire! Kenny had just inserted the black wings, when Yang Feng immediately issued an order. 300 level 6 gunner troops quickly adjusted their firing positions, forming a small all-encompassing matrix. In a flash spouted endless tongues of fire towards the sky. The calculation ability, shooting speed and shooting accuracy of level 6 gunner troops were by far superior to level 4 gunner troops. That matrix-style firing method at once completely enveloped Kenny. No matter how Kenny dodged, he was firmly bitten by the Vulcan cannon shells. The defensive force field formed by defensive spells was directly shattered. After 10 seconds, Kenny was completely swallowed by that terrifying artillery fire, turning into countless fragments that fell from the sky. Yang Feng watched as Kenny was torn to shreds by the anti-aircraft artillery. He silently thought, although level 2 warlocks are formidable, but wanting to break through my defensive stronghold is also a pipe dream. I reckon that only a great warlock rank expert in coordination with a large number of level 3 warlocks might be able to break through Black City. However, after the completion of the construction of the level 1 defensive stronghold, even if a great warlock came, I wouldn't have to be afraid. However, if it's an expert above the great warlock rank, then level 1 defensive stronghold might not be able to withstand them. Moreover, my body is too weak. It's very easy to be killed by poison, curses and other strange spells. Yang Feng, who possessed a formidable mechanical legion, his only weakness was his body. His body's physical constitution was merely at the level of an ordinary earthling. In this Tyrannid subcontinent, however, he belonged to the lowest level of existence. Even a peasant's physical constitution might be a lot stronger than his. If a curse or a plague-type spell were to hit him, then only death would await him. It's a pity that one escaped. Level 2 warlocks are truly monster-like existences. Yang Feng thought somewhat regretfully. Under the intensive bombardment of 2,000 anti-aircraft artillery controlled by a super-artificial intelligence, he was actually still able to escape. He completely displayed the might of a level 2 warlock. An ordinary human would have already been blasted into pieces. We failed. Steel Lord Yang Ye's mechanical golem legion is much more formidable than we imagined. Snake Evil Eyes people, immediately withdraw. An extremely weak voice suddenly sounded in the minds of Snake Evil Eyes warlocks and apprentice warlocks. Snake Evil Eyes warlocks immediately had a huge change in their complexions. After a brief exchange, they immediately withdrew from the battlefield and fled towards a distant place. Snake Evil Eyes warlocks withdrew. The originally precarious battlefield at once collapsed like an avalanche. A large number of level 4 bladed troops directly killed their way through Snake Evil Eye's defensive line and directly killed their way into Fernando clan's army. Without the support of warlocks, Fernando clan's mortal army was basically not a match for those level 4 bladed troops. They were practically completely massacred by the level 4 bladed troops. The crazy massacre continued for a while. Fernando clan's mortal army began to collapse from Snake Evil Eye's direction. Like a tide, they retreated backwards. The huge army of retreating troops scattered the troops that were still fighting, causing the army to begin to collapse. Snake Evil Eye's group of bastards. A level 1 warlock from Fernando clan saw the army collapse. He gnashed his teeth and cursed, then sighed helplessly. We're also withdrawing. Fernando clan's warlocks and White Bear Fang's warlocks also took advantage of the chaos of the battlefield to quickly withdraw from the battlefield. The Bloodbat Knights in the sky also directly flew away from the battlefield. Having lost these backbone forces, Fernando clan's mortal army completely collapsed. There were scattered soldiers everywhere. Under the siege of the mechanical bladed troops, a large number of the scattered soldiers chose to surrender. Chapter 29. The Southern States Alliance was an alliance formed by 10 large principalities and nearly 100 small states. Many small states even only had a single city. Warlock College Antalya was located in the center of the Southern States Alliance and dominated all of the member states of the Southern States Alliance. Warlock College Antalya's headquarters, St. Colin City, was also the only huge city in the Southern States Alliance with a population exceeding 5 million. St. Colin's City. Within a tavern. Alan's eyebrows were tightly creased as he continuously calculated in his mind. So bad, Warlock College Antalya actually didn't receive me. Are they determined to get rid of the mighty Steel Lord? It had already been more than 10 days since Alan arrived in St. Colin's City. Within these 10 days, no one from Warlock College Antalya had come in contact with him. As if they had completely forgotten about him. This made him feel somewhat uneasy. Once Warlock College Antalya was determined to get rid of Yang Feng's fictitious Steel Lord Yang Yi, then Alan's situation would become very dangerous. But no matter how astute Alan was, his time in St. Colin's City was after all too short, his intelligence was too little, and he was basically unable to accomplish anything. Mr. Allen, Warlock College Antalya's Colin Darren requests an audience. After a knock on the door, a very courteous voice was heard from outside. Alan's eyes lit up. He immediately got up and opened the door. Outside the door, an approximately 35 or 36-year-old official level 1 warlock, dressed in a white warlock gown with a silver thread on the cuffs, stood next to a female attendant. The young warlock said with a slight smile, "Are you Alan? I'm Warlock College Antalya's Colin." "Colin Darren. I'm Alan." Alan pressed his right hand on his chest, slightly bowed in salute towards Colin. In Tyrandot subcontinent, apart from official warlocks, the rest of the apprentice warlocks had to salute when meeting an official warlock. This was a necessary etiquette. If they didn't do so, then some narrow-minded warlocks would even take the initiative to get rid of those fellows who didn't understand etiquette. Colin said with a slight smile, "Please come with me. Blitz Darren wants to see you." Alan's eyes flashed with a touch of shock as he exclaimed, "Blitz Darren? Don't tell me it's that Scarlet Hans Blitz Darren?" Scarlet Hans Blitz was an incomparably powerful level 3 warlock in Tyrandot subcontinent. He had once single-handedly destroyed a small mortal state and killed 2 terrifying existences of level 3 warlocks. Alan had previously seen only level 1 warlocks, but now that he could see a level 3 warlock, he was naturally very shocked and excited. The VIPs that Alan had seen before were merely level 1 warlocks. Now that he was able to see a level 3 warlock, he was naturally very shocked and excited. A level 3 warlock wasn't an existence that a nobody like him could meet. "That's right, it's Scarlet Hand Blitz." Colin smiled. Alan calmed himself down and said politely, "Then please lead the way, Lord Colin." Under Colin's lead, the 2 people arrived at a spacious meeting hall in St. Colin's City. As soon as Alan stepped into the assembly hall, he saw level 2 warlocks sitting on both sides of the assembly hall exuding terrifying imposing auras. On the seat of honor in the hall sat a silver-haired middle-aged man dressed in a scarlet warlock's gown with 3 silver lines. He appeared to be 40 or 50 years old. Alan's body shook as soon as he saw the silver-haired middle-aged man's eyes. As if he had seen 2 extremely dazzling suns. His eyes were in severe pain and his soul was shaken to the point of almost collapsing and shattering. So terrifying. Is this the strength of a level 3 warlock? Truly terrifying. Alan had a splitting headache, his heart brimming with shock and fear. He was very clear that Scarlet Hans Blitz didn't even need to use any means. He could kill a level 3 apprentice warlock like him with just a gaze. This was the strength of Tyrandot subcontinent's peak warlocks. A level 2 warlock sitting beside the hall waved his hand and a rainbow-colored radiance shrouded Alan. Alan felt much better and heaved a long sigh of relief. Blitz looked at Alan and said indifferently, "Alan, what did Yang Yi send you for?" "Excuse me, are you Scarlet Hans Blitz Darren?" "Yes," Alan said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "The mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren sent me in the hope of replacing Fernandro Principality and Sonaris Principality, establishing a new principality based on the territories of the 2 principalities, inheriting the rights and obligations of the 2 great principalities, and serving the mighty Warlock College Antalya. The mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren can display his strength to you, as long as you agree. We can destroy all of Fernandro Principality's resistance within a month." Destroy all of Fernandro Principality's resistance within a month. What a big tone. No, maybe he really can achieve this. Kenny and Abane are both dead. Jamt was also seriously injured. Reportedly half of his body was shattered. However, to actually want to swallow Fernandro Principality and Sonaris Principality, Yang Ye's appetite is really big. He can't even get Fernando Principality, yet he still wants Cineris Principality. What a greedy guy.
After hearing Alan's words, the level 2 warlocks in the hall started to discuss in low voices.
The hall was filled with fluctuations of spells. Alan couldn't hear the words of those level 2 warlocks. Blitz said coldly, "Impossible. Fernando Principality and Cineris Principality. It's impossible to hand them over to you." Alan said with a slight smile, "If Warlock College and Talia's Darren aren't willing to hand over the two great principalities to us, then Yang Yi Darren told me that we can only choose to rely on Savage Claw. Presumably, Savage Claw's Darren will support us in taking down the two great principalities." Savage Claw. Fuck, if he relies on Savage Claw, then it'll be troublesome. This guy actually wants to rely on Savage Claw. What a bastard.
The level 2 warlocks in the hall stared fixedly at Alan, their eyes brimming with anger.
Savage Claw was Warlock College and Talia's mortal enemy. Both sides had fought for God knows how many years, with countless warlocks falling at their hands. Both sides were irreconcilable enemies. Now that they heard that Steel Lord Yang Yi actually wanted to rely on Savage Claw, it immediately filled them with anger and killing intent. Blitz's voice at once became extremely cold, with traces of extremely cold killing intent. "Are you threatening me?" Alan said faintly. "No. I'm just stating a possibility, that's all." Chapter 30.
Alan respectfully said towards Blitz, "I, Alan, was born in Fernando Principality.
Fernando Principality is my motherland. If I had a choice, I wouldn't want to betray my motherland. Therefore, I desperately asked the mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren, and finally moved him. As long as Fernando Principality and Cineris Principality's West Wind Sea City were handed over to him, then he would agree to join Warlock College and Talia. Moreover, he would send his only kin to join Warlock College and Talia and cultivate the Warlock path. At the same time, he'll become a great wall of steel protecting Warlock College and Talia. As long as he's there, then Savage Claw's experts absolutely won't be able to pass through his territory and attack the Southern States Alliance. This condition isn't bad. Since Yang Yi was able to defeat Fernando Clan, then if he's sincere in relying on Warlock College and Talia, we'll obtain a formidable assistance." "No. Fernando Clan is Warlock College and Talia's subsidiary clan. If their clan is destroyed, what will the other clans think? This will shake Warlock College and Talia's rule. Fernando Clan must be preserved. Otherwise, the foundation of Warlock College and Talia's rule will be shaken."
In the discussion hall, the level 2 warlocks were engaged in an intense discussion.
Some level 2 warlocks advocated for Yang Yi to join Warlock College and Talia's sphere of influence, while some level 2 warlocks were determined to protect Fernando Clan. Blitz pondered for a moment and then said unhurriedly, "Fernando Clan has been loyal and devoted to Warlock College and Talia all these years. They haven't made any major mistakes in their work. It's impossible for us to abandon them. West Wind Sea City is Cineris Principality's richest port city. We can't give it to you. Change the condition." 3 great level 2 warlocks attacked Black City, yet 2 were killed and 1 returned with serious injuries. They didn't even get to see the Steel Lord. Warlock College and Talia attached great importance to Yang Feng's formidable mechanical legion. Even if it was an iron-blooded person like Blitz, after Yang Feng revealed a trace of intention to rely on him, he also had no choice but to weigh it over and over again. Alan once again took a step back and said, "Since it's like this, with the current power as the boundary, Fernando Principality will cede the 3 cities of Golden Sand City, Ironwood City, and Brightstone City. Moreover, they will compensate us with 300,000 magic stones and 10 bottles of Blue Mirage potion that can change a practitioner's soul aptitude. Then I can persuade the mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren to accept your conditions and join Warlock College and Talia. Moreover, he can send his only kin to join Warlock College and Talia to cultivate on the Warlock path. He really dares to open his mouth. 10 bottles of Blue Mirage elixir are enough to promote a superior level. 3 Spirit Aptitude Apprentice Warlock to intermediate level. 4 Spirit Aptitude. However, although Blue Mirage is precious, but if we can absorb the Steel Lord into our Warlock College and Talia, then it's still very worthwhile." The level 2 warlocks in the meeting hall discussed spiritedly. In the end, the majority of the level 2 warlocks agreed to Alan's conditions. "We agree to your conditions.
Blitz's gaze shifted and fell on an old man with white hair and beard among the level 2 warlocks. Eudirax, tomorrow bring the contract to Black City and sign the contract with Steel Lord. Eudirax respectfully saluted towards Blitz and said, "Yes, Darren."
Black City, Warlock Pagoda's basement, first floor. Gotcha. On top of the altar, cracks appeared on the eggshell of the unknown life form. Yang Feng's spirit was slightly roused. These days, most of the time he stayed on top of the altar, just like a chick waiting for the life form within the egg to hatch. Now that the life form within the egg finally started to come into being, his heart was brimming with expectations. Yang Feng put his palms together and muttered towards the enormous egg, "My requirements aren't high. Since it's something that comes out from inside the taboo stone, then it's basically a lofty existence. I'll be perfectly satisfied with a young of a dragon, phoenix, Cerberus, or any other kind of divine beast. A mythological beast with a cool background."
In the Second Warlock Dynasty, those formidable warlocks conquered countless planes and captured a lot of formidable existences to carry out all kinds of taboo experiments.
Those puny life forms and secret treasures basically didn't have the qualifications to be sealed by the taboo stone. It was precisely because of this that Yang Feng was so expectant towards the enormous egg. Gotcha. In the midst of Yang Feng's expectations, the enormous egg at once broke open.
Curled up inside the enormous egg was a cute little girl of about 6 years old, without a single piece of clothing, with a head of waist-length hair, skin as white as jade, sparkling and translucent like an angel.
How could this be? There's no need to play with me like this. Where's the powerful contract beast? Yang Feng opened his eyes wide as he looked at the 6-year-old little girl crawling out of the enormous egg. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Yang Feng originally intended to get a powerful contract beast, then on the warlock path, he would have a huge meat shield and a powerful henchman. Now that a 6-year-old little lowly ran out, he wanted to cry but had no tears. That little lowly opened her eyes. That pair of bright and clear big eyes firmly stared at Yang Feng. Yang Feng looked at that little lowly's pair of pure, clear and beautiful black jewel-like eyes. The vexation in his heart completely disappeared, and instead gave birth to a feeling of tender affection. Forget it. Getting an oriental lowly can be considered pretty good. In Tarandit subcontinent, Westerners occupied a mainstream position. Reportedly, in the distant main continent, there were also a lot of Orientals. However, in Tarandit subcontinent, Orientals were still very rare. Those with a cute appearance like this little lowly were even more incomparably rare. That little lowly gave Yang Feng an adorable sweet smile and extended a pair of snow-white little hands. Yang Feng had a doting expression as he held the adorable little lowly in his arms. Once that little lowly was held in Yang Feng's bosom, she giggled, then raised her snow-white little hands. A mysterious force gushed out. The fragments of the enormous egg scattered on the altar flew into that little lowly's hands. She held those fragments of the enormous egg and continuously gnawed on them. Every time she gnawed on a fragment, that little lowly would grow by a fraction. This was the terrifying aspect of a warlock, a level 2 warlock. After receiving the scan, Alan took Eudirax towards the Warlock Pagoda's location. Warlock's Eye. Eudirax cast the level 1 spell Warlock's Eye. A huge eye suddenly appeared above his head and looked in all directions. Chapter 32. This time, Eudirax came to Black City with an important mission, that is to spy on Black City's actual situation.
Under the warlock's eyes as spying, the scene within a radius of several li fell into Eudirax's eyes.
At this time, the entire Black City was still in the transformation stage. Every street was built with a permanent defensive fortress. On top of the permanent defensive fortress were 3 anti-aircraft cannons, 3 machine guns, 1 multi-barrel rocket launcher, and 6 12.7mm heavy machine guns. The entire Black City was like an enormous fortress, with all kinds of cannons everywhere. Eudirax's scalp was slightly numb. With Eudirax's strength, a cannon was basically unable to harm him in the slightest. However, if he didn't escape, he would be blasted to pieces by the hundreds and thousands of machine guns firing at the same time. Eudirax observed the entire Black City through the warlock's eyes, while silently thinking in his heart, if His Excellency the Dean doesn't act, then even if Bloody Hands Blitz Darren leads a team, it would still be very difficult to take down this Black City. It seems like the Steel Lord indeed obtained a portion of 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion's inheritance. After passing through one street after another, Eudirax's duo entered the Warlock Pagoda and directly arrived at the Warlock Pagoda's 3rd floor's main hall. I'm the Steel Lord Yang Yi. Eudora. Welcome to our home. Please sit. A liquid metal robot with artificial eyes and human skin draped over it sat on the seat of honor, before lightly smiling towards Eudirax. Beside Yang Yi stood 8 level, 7 primary battle robots. They were respectively 4 level, 7 bladed troops, 2 level, 7 gunner troops and 2 level, 7 shield troops. The 8 level, 7 battle robots' all-out defense was enough to allow Yang Yi to quickly flee the scene when attacked. The 8 level 7 battle robots were originally 5 to 6 meters tall giant battle robots, but in order to allow them to move freely within the Warlock Pagoda, they were directly shrunk to 3 meters during construction. Thus, their battle prowess was weakened by a lot, but they still had the terrifying strength to kill level 7 life forms. Eudirax directly took out the agreed-upon contract document and handed it to Alan. Hello, Yang Yi. I'm Warlock College Antalia's Eudirax. I'm very happy to meet you. This is the agreed-upon contract document. If there's no problem, then please sign it. Alan stepped forward and handed the contract to Yang Yi. Yang Yi carefully read the contract. After confirming that there were no loopholes, he signed his name on it. Eudirax, what do you think of these 2 mechanical golems? Yang Yi waved his hand, and the 2 level 7 bladed troops immediately walked to the center of the hall. Eudirax carefully looked at the 2 level 7 bladed troops. The 2 level 7 bladed troops weren't in human form. Their upper body was in human form, but they had 8 arms. Each arm was equipped with an alloy long blade. Its head had countless insect-like compound eyes, as well as a bloody mouth full of saw teeth. Its lower body was in the shape of a ferocious tiger, and its tail was incomparably sharp, like an incomparably sharp spear. Yang Feng snapped his fingers. The 2 level 7 bladed troops immediately moved and madly fought. Dang, 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 dang. Incomparably ear-piercing sounds of metal striking each other frantically reverberated in the area. The 2 level 7 bladed troops were like the most ferocious mechanical battle beasts as they madly fought each other, using every conceivable means, making people dazzled. Such strong mechanical golems. The battle prowess of these 2 mechanical golems is already comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock. Eudirax watched the battle between the 2 level 7 bladed troops. His eyes flashed with a whiff of graveness. After the fierce battle for a dozen seconds, Yang Feng clapped his hands lightly. The 2 level 7 mechanical bladed troops immediately stopped fighting and stood motionless. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi smiled as he looked at Eudirax. Eudirax said slowly, very formidable. The battle prowess of these 2 mechanical golems is already comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock. Yang Feng said with a smile, how about I gift these 2 mechanical golems to you? Eudirax pondered for a moment, then said decisively, all right. However, what do you need me to help you with? The 2 mechanical golems with battle prowess comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock were also very useful to the level 2 warlock Eudirax. These mechanical golems were very convenient to deal with some large numbers of enemies as well as when exploring some dangerous areas. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi gave a slight smile, clapped his hands lightly. Shortly after his true body unhurriedly walked out from the side. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi pointed towards his true body and said slowly, this is my only blood relative, Yang Feng. He wants to cultivate on the warlock path, but his talent is too poor. I hope that when he cultivates in Warlock College Antalya, you can take care of him. Yang Feng pressed his right hand on his chest, slightly bowed towards Eudirax in salute and said, I've seen Eudirax Darren. I'm Yang Feng, Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren's nephew. Eudirax was a genuine level 2 warlock. Moreover, he was a level 2 warlock from Warlock College Antalya. His strength was extremely formidable. Yang Feng wasn't willing to be disrespectful in front of such a formidable warlock. Eudirax turned his head towards Yang Feng and gave him a glance. His eyes at once blossomed with a dark green radiance, completely enveloping Yang Feng. Yang Feng immediately felt his body sink. He was practically unable to breathe, unable to move, unable to think. His entire life fell under Eudirax's control. His entire body trembled violently. A feeling of fear spread from the depths of his heart, spreading towards his limbs and bones. That feeling of fear persisted for a full 10 seconds before disappearing. Yang Feng's entire body was already drenched in sweat. He gasped for breath. His legs trembled incessantly. His eyes flashed with fear. Yang Feng's heart was brimming with fear. So strong. Is this a level 2 warlock? Truly too strong. Worthy of being extraordinary life forms that transcend mortals. Only when truly facing them can one deeply feel their terror. Eudirax creased his eyebrows. He pondered for a moment before saying unhurriedly, Yang Yi, your nephew's soul aptitude is only inferior level 1. With such a soul aptitude, even becoming an apprentice warlock would be extremely difficult, let alone becoming an official level 1 warlock. Even if he joined Warlock College Antalya, it would still be very difficult for him to become an official level 1 warlock. Yang Feng's heart sank slightly. Eudirax was an orthodox level 2 warlock from Warlock College Antalya. A level 2 warlock with a formidable inheritance like Eudirax was many times stronger than a level 2 rogue warlock without an inheritance. Now that Eudirax said that it would be extremely difficult for him to become a level 1 warlock, then it would really be extremely difficult. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Ye's voice was deep and full of firmness. He's my only blood relative, and also my only relative in this world. No matter what price I have to pay, I'll let him become an official level 1 warlock. Blue Mirage can change a person's soul aptitude, then as long as he can promote to a level 1 warlock, no matter how many bottles of Blue Mirage, I'll get them for him. Chapter 33. This youngster shouldn't be Yang Ye's illegitimate child, right? Eudirax shot a somewhat surprised glance at Yang Feng, his heart brimming with curiosity. Eudirax said unhurriedly, any elixir has its limits. Taking too much of it will produce a resistance. His cultivation aptitude was simply too low. The Blue Mirage potion could only raise his soul aptitude to upper rank 2 at most. Even with our Warlock College Antalya's inheritance, a superior level 2 soul aptitude can at most only be cultivated until level 2 or level 3 apprentice warlock. Moreover, to promote his soul aptitude from inferior level 1 to superior level 2, the amount of Blue Mirage elixir required is at least 50 bottles. Each bottle of Blue Mirage elixir is worth 5,000 magic stones. 50 bottles of Blue Mirage elixir require a total of 250,000 magic stones. A magic stone was equivalent to 100 gold coins, 200,000 copper coins. 250,000 magic stones was equivalent to 50 billion copper coins. Such a huge sum was only enough to promote Yang Feng's soul aptitude from inferior level 1 to superior level 2. The price of promoting soul aptitude could be imagined. It was precisely because of this that even if it was a close relative, if the soul aptitude was too poor, then generally no warlock would let them tread the warlock path. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi said in a deep voice, even so, I still won't give up. Eudirax, I hope to be able to obtain some soul aptitude promoting elixir formulas. Can you help me purchase a few of them? I'll pay you an adequate price for them. Eudirax said with a slight smile, soul aptitude promoting elixir formulas, every one of them is an extremely precious existence. I only have a soul aptitude promoting elixir formula, Banshee's Tears. But I have to remind you, this Banshee's Tears is the elixir formula passed down from the second Warlock dynasty. Many of its materials are special products of other planes. In the last 1,000 years, no one in our Tyrandot subcontinent has ever successfully concocted this elixir. Even so, this elixir formula, if you want it, then you have to pay me 10,000 magic stones. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi said resolutely, I want it. The 10,000 magic stones will be deducted from Fernandro clan's war reparations. In Tyrandot subcontinent, all the knowledge was in the hands of warlock groups. And every knowledge, if an ordinary person wanted to learn it, they had to pay a huge sum of money or the corresponding magic stones. Eudirax opened his hand and a somewhat yellowed piece of paper appeared in his hand. Then, as if grabbed by a mage's hand, it flew into the hand of Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi glanced at that elixir formula, then quickly scanned it into the database and began to deduce and analyze it. Eudirax said with a slight smile, Yang Yi, I'll do my best to take care of your nephew in Warlock College in Talia. Yang Feng's embodiment of the Steel Lord Yang Yi was a terrifying warlock alchemist capable of easily killing level 2 warlocks. T. Uaxt. Yang Yi, embodiment of. Uaxt. This is Yang Yi, King 2, he is Yang, that, my might. With Yi Ming, T, Yang Feng, is Feng Li Lude with my, T, said, my nephew, Yang, currently, is Yi, : my nephew. Can you give pointers to Yang Yi? Eudirax pondered for a moment, then waved his hand. Shortly after, a secret book appeared in his hand. A wizard's hand grabbed that secret book and directly flew in front of Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi. This is the part of Magic Notes Titan that can be practiced until level 3 Warlock. 7th Warlock Dynasty's Magic Note Dynasty's peerless secret method. It possesses boundless might. Although without the Plane of Giants Titan's blood essence, this secret method will forever be unable to promote to an official Warlock. But this Magic Notes Titan's foundation is very good. As long as you are willing to spend resources, then your nephew should be able to promote to a level 1 apprentice warlock within 3 years. There were many formidable secret methods passed down from the 8 great warlock dynasties. However, those formidable secret methods have long since slowly declined along with the changes of the times. Even so, that Magic Notes Titan is still God knows how many times stronger than Zhao Zhang's clan's Thunderox martial art. With Yang Feng's aptitude, cultivating NR 3790 XS optimized Thunderox, but in his lifetime he would be unable to promote to a Knight rank expert. But cultivating Magic Notes Titan, within 3 years he would be able to promote to an apprentice warlock. This is the huge disparity between cultivation methods. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi casually threw Magic Notes Titan to his true body and said in a deep voice, still not thanking Eudirax Darren. Yang Feng's true body bowed respectfully towards Eudirax and said, thank you, Eudirax Darren. Eudirax, how many magic stones do I need to pay you? Eudirax said with a slight smile, this Magic Notes Titan is too precious. Eudirax said with a slight smile, I promise to help you take care of your nephew. This small gift is nothing. Magic Notes Titan's might is boundless. Even in the 7th Warlock Dynasty it was still one of the most pinnacle secret methods. However, in Tyrandot subcontinent, it's basically impossible to obtain the blood essence of a Titan. Therefore this peerless secret method's value isn't high. My nephew has a little girlfriend. Her cultivation talent is very outstanding. I want to ask for a powerful secret method for her. This golem is a small gift from me to you. I hope you'll like it. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi clapped his hands. A level 7 shield troop walked from his side to the center of the main hall. A level 7 bladed troop's figure moved. It brandished 8 superalloy blades and fiercely chopped at the level 7 shield troop from 8 directions. The level 7 shield troop raised its shield high. A formidable transparent protective cover appeared in a flash blocking in front of it. The level 7 bladed troop's superalloy blades madly chopped at the transparent protective cover, yet it was unable to harm the level 7 shield troop in the slightest. Eudirax looked at the level 7 shield troop's formidable protective cover. His eyes suddenly flashed with a whiff of a peculiar splendor. He looked at the level 7 shield troop with eyes brimming with longing. This is a protective cover with defensive strength comparable to a level 2 defensive spell. No, this protective cover's defensive strength might even reach that of a pinnacle level 2 defensive spell. In the world of warlocks, defensive secret treasures are always much more popular than offensive secret treasures. A mechanical golem with defensive strength comparable to a level 2 spell can even save Eudirax's life in times of need. Chapter 34. These days, under Robot Bonnie's guidance, Yang Feng learned a lot of basic knowledge related to warlocks. I seek truth in the darkness. I seek immortality. These were the famous words of the first Warlock Dynasty's first Warlock Emperor, the Time Lord. It was also the famous words that countless warlocks regarded as truth. The ultimate goal of warlocks was to obtain immortality. Countless warlocks, in order to obtain immortality, had their footprints spread across countless planes, absorbed the knowledge of countless planes, captured the life forms of countless planes, carried out blood meridian transformation, taboo experiments, soul experiments, mechanical golems manufacturing and so on. Secret methods were cultivation secret methods created by warlocks after absorbing the knowledge of countless planes. Secret methods were divided into two types. One was blood meridian secret methods. The other was orthodox secret methods. Blood meridian secret methods were to implant a formidable life form's blood meridians, then cultivate a special secret method, allowing the person's life form to directly transform towards that formidable life form. This was a mature secret method obtained by the Second Warlock dynasty after countless advancements, and after creating countless freaks. Before the Second Warlock dynasty, basically all warlocks cultivated orthodox secret methods. Different from orthodox secret methods, blood meridian secret methods were extremely powerful, and their cultivation speed was also astonishingly fast. As long as the blood meridians of a formidable life form were transplanted, and they were able to withstand that formidable blood meridian. With the same resources, the cultivation speed of a blood meridian warlock who cultivated blood meridian secret methods could be 10 times that of an orthodox warlock. However, cultivating blood meridian secret methods also had their limitations. That was, once a blood meridian was chosen, then it would be difficult to change. Moreover, some formidable blood meridians also had the potential to evolve. Once the blood meridian potential of a formidable life form was exhausted, then if one wanted to take a step forward, then one would be restricted by the blood meridians, and it would be very difficult to take a step forward. Orthodox secret methods didn't have that kind of restriction. If a cultivator who cultivated orthodox secret methods was dissatisfied with their cultivation secret method, then they could change to another secret method at any time, or even simultaneously cultivate 2 or 3 secret methods that didn't conflict with each other. Of course, to change the main secret method, one would still have to pay a certain price. Magic Notes Titan was a formidable blood meridian secret method. The Western Extreme Ice Phoenix technique was a powerful orthodox secret technique. These two secret methods were many times more formidable than the secret methods of Black Cottage. Especially that Western Extreme Cold Ice Phoenix, even though it was only a level 1 warlock's cultivation method, but it was already an inherited secret method of a small warlock clan. As for the secret techniques cultivated by the knights, they were actually a branch of the body-tempering warlock's cultivation. A knight rank expert's physical constitution is equivalent to that of a level 1 apprentice warlock. A sky knight's physique was equivalent to that of a level 1 warlock among body-tempering warlocks. Both sides got what they wanted, and after some small talk, they began to exchange the cultivation experiences of warlocks. With Robot Bonnie's memories as a reference, Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi inquired Uterax about a lot of difficulties related to level 1 warlock's cultivation. Chapter 35. Hunting Tooth Wilderness was the only way for Fernandro Principality, Cineris Principality and Potent Principality to reach Warlock College Antalya. It was part of Cineris Principality's territory. Hunting Tooth Wilderness's climate was very strange. It was basically impossible to grow food. Cineris Principality was also an agriculture-oriented country. Therefore, there were only a few large ranches in Hunting Tooth Wilderness. The rest of the places were ungoverned. Countless criminals, villains and scum converged from the 3 great principalities, forming ferocious bandits in Hunting Tooth Wilderness, threatening the people going to Warlock College Antalya. Whenever those bandits flourished, Warlock College Antalya would dispatch formidable warlocks to wipe them out. But those bandits couldn't be eliminated. Every time a group was eliminated, after a period of time, another group would emerge. It was impossible to eliminate them all. Those bandits were all desperados. They were extremely ferocious. Every year, many people from the 3 great principalities would die tragically at their hands on the way to Warlock College Antalya. Therefore, in the eyes of mortals, Hunting Tooth Wilderness was an extremely dangerous place. On a main road in Hunting Tooth Wilderness, an incomparably huge convoy was slowly moving forward. There were a total of more than 500 carriages in that convoy. Each carriage had been modified. It was fast and long, and it was stuffed full of goods. There were also more than 2,000 guards in that convoy. Stop! A voice reverberated in that convoy. The huge convoy at once stopped moving. Chefs very skillfully got down from the carriages, took out a variety of tools and started cooking. The door of a modified luxurious carriage opened. Yang Feng got down from inside. Shi Shui, who was like a fairy, also jumped down from the carriage. Like a small tail, she closely followed behind him. A small practice field covered with all kinds of weapons had already been set up. Yang Feng strode into the small practice field. Inside the small practice field, there were already 4 expressionless robots waiting with clubs in their hands. Come! Yang Feng walked to the center of the small practice field, took a deep breath, operated magic notes tighten. His whole body's muscles at once tightened, at once swelled up, slightly expanding by a circle. The 4 expressionless robots immediately held clubs in their hands and fiercely whipped Yang Feng from different directions. Magic notes tighten was a kind of formidable secret method to imitate giants. Its core cultivation philosophy was to treat the cultivator as a piece of fine iron, after going through countless tempering and hammering, to stimulate the human body's potential, tempering it into steel. Under the countless wooden clubs hammering, Yang Feng only felt bursts of pain coming from his body. But when he operated magic notes tighten, that pain would turn into a warm current flowing within his body. After the 5 minutes of hammering ended, the badly battered Yang Feng quickly took out an elixir restoration water worth 20 gold coins and immediately drank it. That restoration water entered Yang Feng's dragon Yang Feng's body and immediately started healing. Restoration water entered Yang Feng's king and sex Yang. If he didn't have the help of healing water, then after being hammered, Yang Feng would need to rest for 30 days to recover his body. Moreover, if he was the slightest bit careless, then he could leave behind internal injuries while practicing cultivation. Zhao Jiang clan, such a small aristocratic clan, doesn't even have 500 gold coins in their savings. It's even more impossible for ordinary people to use a 20 gold coins bottle of restoration water. This great beauty with golden hair and huge breasts was Giant Stone City's White Cat and Hat Hotel's top beauty sissy. She was also Zhao Zhang's unforgettable dream lover before his death. After Yang Feng seized Giant Stone City, he slaughtered Sissy's original owner, a viscount, and conveniently seized her to serve as a maid. What a pity! The smell of travel is too strong, her skin is rough, her makeup is too thick. Sure enough, genuine stunning beauties are all warlocks or apprentice warlocks. Yang Feng glanced at the great beauty Sissy. His eyes flashed with a touch of regret. Sissy, who had gone through meticulous makeup, looked very beautiful, but if one looked carefully, one would discover that her skin's pores were thick, completely different from that snow-white silk-like shui. Moreover, once the makeup was removed, Sissy's beauty would be greatly reduced. She would only be considered as an ordinary beauty. The only thing she could be proud of was her voluptuous and sexy figure. Currently she was number 1 among Yang Feng's group of maids. Evolution potential, small. Yang Feng gave a faint smile and waved his hand. A trifling great knight actually dares to spout such nonsense. Go kill them all. The 200 level, 4 mechanical bladed troops wielding alloy blades directly rushed towards the 200 bandits. An aristocratic youngster's complexion changed slightly. He whispered towards the level 1 warlock Abel's son. Shit. Gars, this guy is too stupid. He's actually using infantry to rush at cavalry. That's sending his subordinates to their deaths. We should run away. Gars also whispered, I also think that he's very stupid. Tell the others to get ready to run away. After the caravan is defeated, we'll take advantage of the chaos to escape. Using an infantry charge against a cavalry charge was simply sending the infantry to their deaths. In Tyrandot subcontinent, infantry could only form a pike phalanx, only then could they contend against cavalry. Furthermore, only those most elite and valiant soldiers who weren't afraid of death could form a pike phalanx to contend against cavalry. Otherwise, when infantry met cavalry in the field, they would basically be the ones being massacred. The more than a dozen aristocratic youngsters who were lucky enough to escape, their originally relaxed hearts once again became tense. They looked at Yang Feng as if they were looking at an idiot. The best way to deal with the more than 2,000 guards of the caravan against the 200 valiant cavalry was to form a formation with carriages, then use bows and crossbows to defend. Only the stupidest commander would issue an order to have infantry charge at cavalry. Bard's eyes flashed with a whiff of contempt. He pointed at Yang Feng with his onbato and shouted, Idiot! Charge with me. Whoever cuts off that idiot's head, the women and goods inside will be his to choose. When the bandits heard Bard's words, they all shouted excitedly. They clenched their scimitars, loudly shouted unclear words and extremely ferociously charged at the 200 level, for mechanical-bladed troops. Very soon, the Storm Wolves cavalry regiment fiercely collided with Yang Feng's mechanical-bladed troops. A Storm Wolves warrior laughed malevolently. He brandished his onbato and, with the help of the horse's charge, fiercely chopped at a level 4 mechanical-bladed troop. Once the cavalry launched a charge, with the help of the charge, they could even behead a knight rank expert. The Storm Wolves warrior seemed to have already seen the scene of the level 4 mechanical-bladed troop being chopped in two by his blade. The level 4 mechanical-bladed troop was expressionless. It only mechanically brandished the 2-meter-long alloy blade in its hands and chopped at the Storm Wolves warrior. In the next moment, a scorching hot blood sprayed out. The Storm Wolves warrior along with his horse was chopped in two by the level 4 mechanical-bladed troop. Blood and viscera splashed all over the level 4 mechanical-bladed troop. Practically at the same time, countless amounts of blood splashed on the battlefield. The Storm Wolves cavalrymen along with their horses were chopped in two, their corpses scattered on the ground. It was like hell. An aristocratic young lady's complexion was pale, her stomach was in turmoil, she almost vomited and said in a low voice, "So terrifying. They're all knight rank experts. How could there be so many knight rank experts?" You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.